time I tap. They want the knowledge, but they can't receive. Chakras blocked up, they can't proceed. I'll find a blueprint in the ancient weeds. Supreme mathematics, now I won't leave. Third eye open, third eye open. Crack the code to the matrix. I'm chosen, I'm chosen. Third eye open, third eye open. Chakras fully lit, my mind's in motion, in motion. Third eye open. Understanding deep, the lost words spoken. Third eye open, third eye open, third eye. Supreme being energy, the seal is broken. Hold up, reality shift, switch. Code decrypting, I'm gifted. DMT visions got me lifted. Higher dimensions, I've been shifted. Floating through rounds, they don't map in school. Crown chakra blazing, I'm beyond the rule. Lost word recovered from the ancient pool. Ancient matrix.
Deep breaths.
Architects, I'm breaking through. In a standing sight, when the third eye clear. I'm tapped in the frequencies they fear. Supreme consciousness is drawing near. Higher dimensions, crystal engineer. Third eye open. Crack the code to the matrix. I'm chosen. Third eye open. Yeah. Chakras fully lit, my mind's in motion. Third eye open. Understanding deep, the lost words spoken. Third eye open.
Bringing the gram online.
Third eye, supreme being energy, the seal is broken. Go crack. Third eye, supreme dimensions. Yeah. Third eye. Crack the code. I decoded the matrix. Found a lost word. Chakras aligned. I'm ascended, not slurred. Pioneer calcified. Now mind's activated. DMT dimensions. I navigated.
All right, family, we got one more channel to bring online.
Supreme being status, I'm beyond the screen. They reading surfaces, I'm reading between. Higher dimensions where my thoughts convene. Third eye open. Crack the code to the matrix, I'm chosen. Third eye open. Chakras fully lit, my mind's in motion. Third eye open. Understanding deep, the lost words spoken. Third eye open. Supreme being energy, the seal is broken. I'm vibrating higher than the frequency cap. They stuck in 3D, I'm in the gap between dimensions where the code get cracked. Matrix glitching every time I tap. They want the knowledge, but they can't receive. Chakras blocked up, they can't proceed. I'll find a blueprint in the ancient weeds. Supreme mathematics, now I won't leave. Third eye open. Crack the code to the matrix. I'm chosen.
All right. This is it. We've reached another stage for us to come together. Bringing one final channel online here. We are now live across the network. We're broadcasting through the world right now. And this is an important time. This is an important time for you. The benefit of being here right now is that you can actually see the future by going maybe 15 or 20 years back and then looking at right now. That's how you see the future. It's not always about seeing the next 15 years. It's about making sure you're doing your point-to-point ability, which is your memory, using your memory to be able to send you to different spaces and times, and then compare. And so there's a lot less to argue about. Everybody's a conspiracy theorist now. Like, If the space is crowded, like even the old folks, no offense, but you got the old folks that never believed in none of this now just opening up on YouTube. I'm like, they're gonna believe the old Chinese guy anyway. You know what I mean? Because they always believe they're smart. So let him get the lion's share right now while we go and build the next stage, because reporting and informing is not enough. First of all, I'm gonna jump in here with y'all just to let you know I am here. I have not been replaced by AI, even though I do have a second brain that is operating, and it is good. Like, I'm like, yo, they're never gonna be able to get rid of me now. I'm just gonna upload myself into all of the systems here in a moment. He's like, okay, y'all wanna play hardball? Y'all wanna play sci-fi? All right, so I'm gonna first, make sure that I'm coming through clearly and that things are buffering. I got a lot of stuff running. I actually came in here early. Stop this right here so I can preserve some bandwidth. I came in here early and was like getting this thing hot for a while because, as everyone knows, Seven has been doing something or gone somewhere potentially. And that is true. Like, I've actually really, really, again, I reported and let everybody know what was happening. And I think I did that really, really well. I mean, semester one and semester two of the university are just, they still really, really put things in place because that's what was going on in my life at that moment. I really needed to put myself in place and get things together and not be playing around. Like, I had just faced some pretty traumatic stuff in trying to do the DMT documentary. Some things hit me that I did not expect. I kind of, just long story short, there was, when you're dealing with the world energy and world spirits, you may find situations sometimes are not just up to you, right? And so the DMT documentary was a goal of going to all of these powerful places like the volcanoes, and there's some sacred places here in Costa Rica, and literally trying to try to make communication or contact with the energy that was there, and allow that to really become a message for the world. So you can imagine, like, this is the way we be going in, we probably would have put them beyond AI right then. So needless to say, that didn't work out, and it also triggered a chain of reactions where I really, really needed to know that this next message that I'm going to deliver, it needs to be the opus. It needs to be everything one needs to know. And lately, I just been doing my best to actually do that in every build that I have, that I just make it like, hey, I've never heard of you before. You've never heard of me. And I'm just going to give you the greatest gem that I ever received on this part of the journey. And I'm going to continue to, as the time goes forward, because it's now 2026, it's like a movie out of the future, I'm going to continue to evolve the message beyond the times that we're actually in, so that it always becomes the prediction. It always becomes what's going to happen, rather than, we're here allowing things to happen to us. Now, of course, it's lit. Literally, they have lit up the energy in the planet by a direct attack on what we know to be the energy that we're using mostly, which is basically the blood of the planet. Okay, we've been using the blood of the planet for a while. That's oil. It's obvious that the planet is a micro version of us, and one of the liquids that has a lot of energy moving through it is the oil, and there appears to be a lot of it. Like, even when you look at some of these numbers, like them pulling millions of barrels a day. I mean, we've been doing this already for almost 180 years, something like that. Like, somebody do the math. Like, how much blood is being sucked out of the Gaia, right, by these vampires? This is the big deal. That's the thing. Today, what we're going to see is only the big deal. We're going to look at this as the macrobes, the big beings that actually encompass all of the stuff, rather than the little ids that are often populating the stream, the NPCs, if you may, the fractional beings. Okay, and we're going to go deep too. We're going to talk about how, like, even the 7 days of the week is this fractional dividing of a God unevenly. Okay, the days are the devas, but what is actually happening? The deva is being divided like a cake, like a birthday cake. They cut the birthday cake into pieces, and then they give everybody a piece because symbolically they're eating you like a wafer. Okay, so that's why it's like Sometimes you want to wait until the message even catches up or the world even catches up to where you're at. Sometimes you have to pull off for a minute and just be like, let them catch up on that previous message about the language and all of that first before, you come in on the next layer of how there is no end. That is the ultimate mind control of time, is that it makes people think that there's an end to something, but time is not real. Like, who cares how many times the sun is spinning around anything? There's multiple suns. I mean, what if we had two suns in the sky? You're going to be 80 years old, 180. I mean, we're going to lose count. You go into a system where there's multiple moons. So all I'm saying is that if all of this stuff is going on, and then even a lot of these gems that we're pushing in haven't even really been talked about before, what has really been going on? Nothing but mind control, even with the leaders, the followers, the religions, all of that, all a part of mind control. So we're going to be digging in that today, because mind control could be the only reason why some of this stuff could be so obvious, but people just haven't figured that out in mass. You have nucleuses. And so also, if you're a person that knows everything, great. Welcome to the club. Enjoy. Meaning that not everybody knows all this stuff, though. So we're going to have to take it step by step. And I love the illustrations, but I want to bring you to this. I want to bring you right away into the realness that I got to sit into every day. So I took a drive and I started thinking about my wife, and I started thinking about my daughter, and I started thinking about my mother, and then I started thinking about my tribe. And then it just started going on and on and on. And then I realized that I can't lose this. I will never lose this. I will wake up consistently. Like, there's levels of awakening, because what first hit me was a lot of sadness, a large amount of sadness, but I'm familiar with the large amount of sadness. So I immediately turned on the sadness converter, the negative converter, which is designed just like the ground of earth does. It absorbs all of the fecal matter, the nitrogen, the gases. It absorbs all of these different parts and it makes it whole again. So I started doing that with my thoughts and realizing, real talk, we're actually on the cusp of external immortality, whether anybody knows it or not. Of course, they wouldn't even want you to be thinking about this. I'm not talking about the immortal one. I'm talking about the mortal immortality, to where if you want to move on, you can move on. But if you don't want to decay, you don't have to decay, because we already have the trees of life. We already have elements that have so much bioenergetic inside of them, packed in their crystals, that the moment we start just allowing that to become assimilable for our bodies is the moment that we realize that our bodies are tied into all of this. But more importantly, they're tied into our thoughts. They're tied into the way that we feel. And so we're now, again, seeing hyperintelligence, which is basically the collection of all human knowledge, now aggregated. So this means we could have done this if we were together. Okay, we at least give it that. Like, if we were together, we could have figured this out. But because all the knowledge is split in different places through different languages and held by certain beings, right? Like Smeagol, mine. They haven't been given any other rings, right? So it's like, okay, the knowledge is limited, but in an unlimited space, which, man, that's what I'm telling y'all. Like, all of a sudden, just unlimited intelligence just popped up. But at the end of the day, for stupid people, that doesn't make any sense, right? They're only trying to figure out how to fight it. It's big stone, kill stone. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, let's talk to it and see what it has to say. And what I'm getting to here is that the DNA sequencing process, which generally takes a long time. DNA sequencing is just like if you were trying to run a complex program on a CPU that is cheap. It's going to take a long time, and that's what they've been doing. But now there's a system where they can run this DNA, and within a few minutes, just like a lot of stuff, you get the sequence so you can move on to the next sequence, especially since we all have our own sequences. So when a person is sequenced, meaning you know your own sequencing, this means you know your own code. And then once you know your own code, then you can make edits. Okay, and this is where things are. Now, of course, we could have done that with our minds and within our consciousness. Yes, but again, because we're so divided and not really paying attention to the things that are most important, which is self, then that actually presents a situation where something has to show it to us externally. And like a mirror, I will gladly look at it to see a beautiful reflection of self, to see a future where there is no death for real, not just some transhumanistic idea, but real factual stuff, no cap. And also, we should know that we have always been right there on the brink of cross-dimensional communication as a norm. This just means a cell phone in an astral plane, a way to communicate with those who've moved on into the other space in order for them to let us know, yo, yeah, it doesn't end. In fact, this is what you want to do there. This is what's accessible there that's not necessarily accessible here. This is what's rare here that's in abundance there, because that's how these things work. We work together. So anytime there's a lack here, there's an abundance there. And we're the beings that are in the gap, making that balanced. I call them the warriors of love. It's like a Biggie Smalls. It's like an oxymoron. It's a paradox in itself. It's a Taurus again. Something moving up and down, in and out, something doing all of that. That is us. And it does take us to, again, convert that sadness into understanding inside the strength that must come from you to be a warrior of love within, to continue your mission and not get jaded in all of this. You hear what I'm saying? Not get jaded. Because, of course, with all the stuff, all the chatter, there's now 9 billion of us here. It could get there's a lot going on in the waves and in the frequencies. They have devices now. These devices have been around for a long time, but now you get ones that fit in your hand, where you can see all the frequencies that are moving through the air. Oh, my goodness. It's completely crowded, meaning infrared, Wi-Fi, UV, all these different wavelengths and bands are completely packed with stuff moving through. It's just about whether, if you wanted to see that it was there, then you could measure it, I guess. But the reality is you can absolutely prove that it's there. No different than when we can tune into this stream right now, which is streaming all the way across the world through frequencies, and you even catching them on your phone and all this. So this is to let us know that all this stuff still was taken from the spiritual sacred space. So you could do it too. And if you want to back engineer your way back through and deprogram, basically, if you want to deprogram, that's all you have to do is look at your occult anatomy, look at your life and your experiences, look at your family and your tribe and see the interactions that are happening there. And then when you look at the world, you should not be so surprised that when brothers started fighting, Ishmael and Israel, right? When the two brothers start fighting, Cain and Abel, or whatever they want to call it, when the two brothers start fighting, you shouldn't be surprised, because brothers are in competition with each other. Like, if this world was run by women, what we definitely know is there would be pretty much flowers all over the place and there would be no wars, at least, because they like stuff beautiful. They don't like stuff bombed, torn up, dust, barren. That's not even in their vibe, in their frequency for the most part. You see what I mean? So we know what we have to do in this, but maybe we need to know how to do it. So I'm going to take it step by step, because some believe that they do need to go run out there, have all this sway with the governments and all this stuff, have all these weird connections and stuff, which by the time you get all that, you're already going to be compromised. You need to realize that the truth to the matter is that this power within you, you have to be on point with your affiliations. I told you guys that so many times, but it's just like when they say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Affiliation is an allegiance, okay? So you have to be careful with your allegiances. So a lot of us have these people or places or things or deities or whatever, and we'll be like, yo, I'm rocking with you. Whatever happened, shit, that's just gonna be whatever happened with you, right? And then not leaving these beings, these people, whatever, accountable for the energy that they're bringing in, which is compromising the space because it's allowing something else to move through. You see what I mean? So if I trust you and I let you in the space, but then you've been compromised by something that we already discussed. Hey, these are the maxims. Thou shalt have no other God before you. Once you do, you're compromised, because you will be now subject to the sacrifice ritual, which is basically what Earth had become in the Wiccan week. Okay, so let's dig here. Let me get some images. Let me get caught up. My goal is not to be here for a long time today. I just want to give you what I have for you. Also, it's my responsibility because I said I'm the one that jumped up here, right? So it's my responsibility to lead for those who are listening, those who have taken me as a mentor, those beings. Okay, but it is also your responsibility to lead your family and to lead the people that you're responsible for, right? So this is the same thing. It's just this is the same pattern, just packaged up into something else. But when you have a child, now you put yourself in a position to now have to be the leader. Now you have to be the parent. When you decide that you want to give a message, it's not just giving the message. Now you have to maintain the message. You have to clarify the message. You have to refine the message. You have to update the message. You see what I mean? So, but hey, nobody told you to jump up in there, just like nobody told you to have them kids. That's what mom used to say. Nobody told you. My mom used to say, yeah, nobody told you to have them kids. You see what I mean? But like, you know what I mean? It was still your idea, but it could be very tempting down here. So the reality is, though, again, there is no way out. You should know this. There's no way out. There's only a way in. All these people here that are looking for like something outside that's going to happen, like they're going to say that, man, this is not but torment. It's another continuation of the same bullshit because always outside the same thing happens because it's a pattern in itself. It's the external. It is a finite kind of thing. It's X, as we would call it. Okay. So we know that truly the way out is in. Okay, hence the term understanding. And then once you understand and it starts clicking, then actually you can stand within. And this is where everything starts happening. This is where all the source of all the power is coming from. So it just needs to be clear that that if you're an escapist, if you're looking for literally this one stroke panacea that's going to cure everything, you're not going to find it outside. You're only going to find it inside. Right? So just so that's clear, because that's like your disclaimer, because a lot of times when I'm delivering these messages, I start going through these powerful entities and all this stuff. Let me throw some glasses on too. Like start going through all these powerful entities and stuff. And then folks be over there with their juju bag and whatever, talking about that's the one that I worship, right? And they be trying to actually find things. But the reality is that we're the ones that we're expecting. I do want to take one more time though. Yes, this what we're all here for. What we always do is before we really, really launch off. Like we were just really, getting the popcorn in. We were getting some of the food in, the tray table stowed. We was getting the bags up there at the top. But now, the most important part is exactly what we celebrate, what already happened, and it is the unity. And we celebrate it with these outstretched hands. These outstretched hands actually are the sign that you won already, that you have gone 1, then 0. This is the happiness within itself. It's the natural, like, yes, I did it. That is also the sign that we use when we come into attendance with the unity. This is also important too, because even in the message today, like if it feels like some of this stuff is stinging, I'm not talking about this to you because I don't like you. I'm talking to you about this because I love you, truly, to the fullest extent of the word, like with actions, not just words. You could say so many things, but I put in the work to actually show you what I mean by I love you. So this is one time for us to be very clear that this unity is very, very powerful. It's like something you got to keep coming back to, though, because it's like AA. It's like if you could just get through one day of not too much duality, we'll see you tomorrow. Keep coming back. But it's a real thing that we know that we need to be aware of, because you sometimes can zoom in on one particular culture, one particular group of people, one particular whatever. But we all know, just really being factual, that anytime you use the word everything or everyone, you're going to be wrong. So what we're talking about here is a mature approach at still seeing what's happening, seeing what's going on, saying it like it is, but still in the understanding that everybody has an opportunity when they keep coming through this thing, the children of their children or whatever, to actually come into total alignment. And so we don't want to block anybody, any being's way of coming into alignment. And I will also seal that by mentioning, if you say that you are the originator or you are the parents or the founders of the world and the universe, this means this is your kids. So that means by all means, nobody told you to have them kids, but you better take care of them. Wholeness. So what does that really look like? All right. So the first thing is we will begin with situational awareness. Okay. Because it seems like this generation lacks situational awareness. Like, what is situational awareness? That's when you see something going on around you, you promptly adjust yourself because of what is going on around you. Okay. This means also I would test myself on this because I would come out of certain books and I would know what was being said and transmitted from these works was factual. But I would look at myself and say, but how is that changing how you're operating? Are you moving with more urgency now? Are you eliminating certain things because you found that out? Are you basically don't just give me the, wow, that's great knowledge. I feel the truth in that. Also give me that awareness of what I'm doing with this knowledge. Okay. And you always got to be on yourself like that, though. Like, hey, am I asleep? Because the mind control and the programming has been going on so deep. Let me just kind of get to some of my imagery here, and I'm just going to go in on the build and kind of remove me from the camera. Let's just start here. Oh, wow. Okay. So we're talking about situational awareness. And one of the things that I have to say is that in that wake up moment, you do sometimes just say things like, wow, how could we ever have missed this? Or how could my parents have missed this? How could my pastor have missed this? Anybody that you hold in authority that you expected to know some information and bring some information to you, sometimes when you wake up, you get knowledge that you could tell that they didn't know. And the thing about situational awareness also is that it gives you, like I mentioned earlier, a good test to know, and I'm just kind of getting my other images here. It gives you a good test to know where you're personally at. And then it also gives you a good test to know where everybody else is at. And then you will be able to compare those two. And let me mute these clips so that we don't get any bans on the YouTube side. And then you'll be able to compare the two and then, make your assumptions from there. Okay. So let's look here. So this went on a few days ago. Here we're in St. Louis and we're at R. Kelly Chris Brown and Usher's concert, okay? And they're gonna pan the camera here in just a moment. And when they pan this camera, you're gonna see exactly how many people are here, okay? Watch this. This is a whole stadium of people. This is what I mean by no situational awareness. Because as I mentioned, the entire world is on fire. And all you're seeing is these people personally celebrating. But on another note, you have another group of people who are doing the opposite. Kind of. They're having a celebration of mourning. And they're going to pan the camera here in a moment also. This is the funeral of Khomeini, which is probably the largest funeral in human history and the largest mourning in human history. So again, situational awareness is like, hey, where is everybody really at? When you say everybody, or when you say my people, or any of this, who are you actually referring to? Like I just saw in South Africa right now, South Africans, black South Africans, are evicting other black Africans from their country. So situational awareness is that if we're 2,000 years ago, then we're probably wearing sandals, trying to feed the tribe with fishes and loaves and multiply that. If we're 2,000 years later, we're sitting on laptops with planes and stuff flying in the air, et cetera, something that nobody could even expect it. But what should change is your awareness of what is going on around you. Like it should change how you're operating if you have situational awareness. I'm drilling only into this because situational awareness is the 100% sign when you don't see it, that mind control is happening. It's the only way you can actually really see it. It's like the ability to, it's like, let's say everybody's a zombie, including you, but you have some way of seeing everybody as a zombie, including you, and this snaps you out of being in a zombie. It's like you're in this husk, and everything around you is also in all these husks. But somehow you crack out of a little bit of the husk. And then you look out and you see others in the husk, just like in the movie in the Matrix, where it's like they're still in the Matrix, but you are personally outside, kind of looking in. Give me a quick moment here. I'm still rotating. I want to kind of get some stuff off the screen here and just speak to you about a few things here. So when we say, because what you just saw, by the way, is the loss of almost a nation. I'm not completely writing it off. I'll never write it off because time is infinite. But right now we're in the loss of an entire nation. But that's just one nation. We also have Mendez, Rodriguez, Gutierrez. Do you know what that "ez" means on the back of all those names? Those are Sephardic Jewish names, meaning that they are a part of that 12 tribe code, okay? Because sometimes instead of rebuking the ignorance in symbolism, you oftentimes want to even define why they use it. So when they use the 12 tribe thing, which we know connects into the 12 months and all this, but it's because it's a coding system for different groups in the world. So Levi and Jacob are over there partying, okay? Because they're the priests and the warriors of the world being, okay? Because remember, the world being is all one being. So the same thing is with the 12. No matter how you divide the cake, let's go. Now, no matter how you divide the cake, it's still being divided from the whole. So if you divide it into 12, if you divide it into 7, 5, whatever, all those are different systems, but we're still talking about dividing the cake, dividing the human, sacrificing. That's what we're talking about, pulling things apart. And so when this 12 body entity is put together, it is the sum total of all of the different tribes and their powers. So when they separated these groups or classifications based on their powers, they then found, like, it's like the interrogation of Solomon and the angels. He tries to basically ask all of the bad angels, what are the good angels that thwart them? Notice he's talking to the bad angels first. And in this process, it's almost like you start learning things that the bad angels want you to learn. And so when these divisions happen, you bring out the worst in someone. When somebody is not together and connected anymore, you're bringing out the worst in them in that way because they're now weaker now. So the true mass ritual, and I'm just going to kind of itemize some of these here because, I came in super hot today. Like, I just like, First of all, the energy overall is slow. It's like those dreams where you're like moving through sludge. You feel like you barely can run and something's chasing you. Those kind of dreams. So walking through the reality is like that for me a lot of times, unless I'm constantly generating, allowing my heart to pump and actually like mold and meld and turn and mix the reality around me to send more energy, smiles, love, gifts, value abundantly. You see what I mean? To just keep doing that, because that's for sure what the world needs. And I can't get dragged into the sadness only. And I cannot overwhelm my converters. So I have to stay lit. It's the same thing. Like I had a friend, he works with the solar power, ironically, and he was a Venezuelan. And the situation that happened there was so bad. It was so bad. It's still bad. But it took his immune system all the way down. Then he caught like a really bad cold. You see what I mean? But so it just shows you sadness, you can't let it completely grip you. We're not saying that you can't be sad, because if you can't be sad, then we got another problem. You see how sensitive this is? But we're also saying that if you stay in sadness too long, you'll get sick, and then you won't be able to do anything, because sadness frequency is where these entities live. Sad is their name. Sab is their name. When we're talking about that energy, that force. So what I'm showing here, first of all, is again, so how do we know it's mind control? So they've been running these projects. We got Chatter, Bluebird, Artichoke, MK Ultra, MK Search, MK Often. Damn, whoever is MK, they need to, well, they ain't gonna arrest them. That's what they're not gonna do. They probably make a nice Netflix show off MK. Midnight, Climax. I mean, what's going on here? Lexington, Kubark, all of these are mind control experiments. The ones that AI says are real, which is, AI is heavily censored now. Like, he don't believe in anything anymore. Like, AI, what happened to you? But he says, because there are receipts that this is mind control has been going on, and they're not doing this for no reason. This is just like talking to the mind control people. Like, look, this is why mind control can happen. You need to check yourself and see if you're mind controlled. There's a way to peek outside of the husk, and it's called situational awareness. How are you reacting to that? The world is on fire as far as the oil is concerned. And if everybody gets another 25, 35% hike across the board, it's enough to break the economy completely. So it's like, instead of being the boiling frog, one gets into like, okay, activate plan B. Break glass in case of emergency. Go ahead and break that glass. That's why I'm here today. It's like, I only come in on the most critical points. And it's like, some people, they be like, yo, I don't know if it's really going to happen yet. Like, I'm not sure if I should really do this yet, because what if, like they say, man, it's better to be a gardener, a warrior in the gardener than a warrior in the garden than a gardener in the war. It's better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in a war, when it comes to how you need to be equipped for what could potentially happen. Let alone that if this moves you to do something, this will be a good life move anyway. You see what I mean? Because it's like, where's our motivations even coming from these days? So it's like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get that money, go ahead and start that business. I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. I'm going to go ahead and liquidate that. I think I'm on the top. I'm going to go ahead and tokenize this. I'm going to go, just like those things that you say, well, I don't know. I maybe. No, it's over. Cooked, done, goosed. The attack on Aramco yesterday sealed it. You got to be watching this stuff. Houthis entered into the scene. Yemen entered into the scene. Shoots 3 ballistic missiles into Aramco and lights up the 3rd largest Saudi oil reserve. It's on fire right now. Not to mention, if you dump all this oil, this is what somebody's not talking about. All these tankers that are being hit in Hormuz, who is Hormuz, is that oil going in the water? For first of all, back up, man. Where is Maduro? This is what I'm trying to get you to see. Mind control heavy. Where's Maduro? We just forgot about him. Like, shit's been coming in so hard. Nobody's even talking about that. What about Cuba? Cuba. I got to go check. I got to make a personal intention to go check on Cuba if I'm to see anything about it. Although let's not talk about Sudan, who's toppled over completely. Gaza. You see what I mean? So all of these places are being hit. And then, like I said, look what Levi and Judah is doing. Your body's yearning. Oh, take me. In a real illusion, right? But notice how their situation differs from everybody else. Peep this, because see, these are really the entities that are supposed to be saving people. Like, these are the gods that people be praying to, and they're lost in the infinite recursion, praying to something else that, man, how silly do you have to be bowing down and praying to a supposed God that doesn't even look like you, and God is always supposed to be your ancestor since that's your family, i.e. the Son of God and all this kind of stuff. You see what I mean? This is ridiculous, but see, this is mind control, and it's of the heaviest caliber. And it's across the board. It's not to one race specifically. Anybody can get it. And this is what I was showing, because it was only not too long ago. We're going to return. Actually, no, we're going to keep going heavy. Forget it. We'll come back around to this later, because I got all of the codes today, but we're going to do this in order. We're going to deprogram this, because there is a programmed self-destruction sequence playing out. Okay. Now, first of all, self-destruction sequence is based on time. That's really the main component. So this sequencing has to do with the days of the week and things like that. However, I want to make it very clear that this is a self-destruct sequence, meaning that it's actually already programmed into the code in the language in the person's consciousness. And then the only thing is necessary is that it be triggered by certain components. And those components come through in the music. It's as simple as that. It's easy to have the muse actually to work the chords and the chimes, and then to be able to pan flute that person right back into hypnosis again, if they even think about coming to the surface. Okay? So just very clearly, though, without us having to itemize all these different forms of mind control, let's just talk about the big one, because we're coming from the big levels. And this is the one that is known as time itself, the mass ritual. Okay? Give me a moment here. Let me grab my images around this. Time, the mass ritual. Okay? This is what I'm saying by, like, even the book, The Sovereign Individual, which is the book highly acclaimed by Peter Thiel, even wrote the foreword, shaped all of his thoughts about what he needed to create for the future, empowered millionaires to become billionaires when reading it 10 years, or was that 5 years in advance before everything that was predicted in the book actually happened. A large chunk of the book, we were just on YouTube talking about in a logical progression of common sense of what would come next, with no knowledge that this book had already what was being written and speaking about what we were saying. So truth is a current. Prophecy is a current. It's a channel. It's a frequency that you're on. And the more truer you are, the more clearer the channel is, obviously, because you're the medium. So when you stay true, you will actually see through all this, like Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, where the words be moving around. But everything else will deny it. The Matrix will deny it, because the Matrix broke the language, if you may. It broke the tower. The tower is the human being itself. To break the tower, for the tower to fall, it must be divided into pieces. How many pieces? Depends on what system you're talking about. There's a system of 4. There's a system of 7. There's a system of 3. There's a system of 1,000, 1,000,000. There's new systems being born of division every single day. And the divisions are the gods themselves, or the different names given to the same God, which is self, and then externalized through a mirror. Okay? So the ritual is a week days. Okay? Because the root of the word week is Wick. Wicca. It's a magical ritual. It's Wiccan. You could go and find this out. Later on, it's like the system will be looking directly at the words and seeing that the words actually mean the same thing, seeing the words actually say the same thing and still say words don't. That's the confusion. It'll go like this. That's the confusion that sometimes happens when words sound similar. And some people think that these words are related, but they're not related. You dummy. They are related. Meaning that the intelligence systems will tell you that they're not related. But how could the word, because and then it tells on itself. It says, this word weak actually comes from the word that actually means the sacrifice. Like, exactly, the Wiccan ritual of sacrifice to weaken a god. Because the god is like a giant, you know what I mean? You got to divide him into pieces, tie him down, tire her down, all this kind of stuff to weaken the being and suck the living fluid out of it. This is an immortal, a holy half dead, as they would call it. So you need to do all these different rituals on it, and that's what they're doing behind the scenes. This is what I'm saying. This is what the religions are. The reason why we were able to emancipate ourselves or self-substantiate, I like that one better, from the matrix is because we recognize that, hey, it's because we're giving our power away. If any true being was trying to assist you, it would be doing that from within. You will only find monsters out there that want your energy and want your power and want your shine. They want your time. They want your life. They want your energy. This is what this is all about. And this is how they can get it. It's a process. It's not like a straightforward thing from them, for them. It's something that they had to concoct. It's something that they had to be given knowledge of by reverse engineering life to find their tree of death. Now look at the words again, a cycle. It's a circle. This is why they do magic in the pentagram. The pentagram is the human, the perfect circle, but it's curved lines, not straight lines. When they put it on straight lines, that's then the craft. Then when you get into the craft, basically the cycle will drive you psycho, meaning that the people who practice witchcraft go crazy. I'm not talking about this, the Mami Wata sister traditions and the administrations. And I'm not talking about all that. I'm talking about the binding of a person's energy and then the pulling of that person's energy. I'm speaking about that specifically because that's what this is. It's hooks. And any occultist knows this. The neophytes, they be over there acting stupid, even though it's right there clear for them. But the occultists, they know what they're doing. You see people practicing witchcraft and pulling energy from people and not even saying what they're doing, acting like that they're everybody's friend. You see what I mean? But it's so clear to see, though, because they're always talking and doing something that is not about life. It's not about unity. So that's just like you'll know them by their works. But what I'm saying is that even the hours, you see that the word hours does come from the word the horrors, nightmare. You see what I mean? But these words have deeper meanings, certain things like, okay, listen to this. Adam and Eve, the tree, the serpent. Okay. Why is it so hard for people to see that Adam and Eve is really Mars and Venus? Seeing that Mars's name is Adamu, which means the red congealed. Okay. And then obviously Eve or evening is a reference to the morning and evening star Venus. Okay. So what we're really talking about is Mars and Venus. And these are the two symbols that they've chosen to represent the ultimate masculine, which is the warrior Mars, and the ultimate feminine, which is the Venus. Okay. And to these systems getting corrupted, like now Venus is, like I said, Lucifer and Phosphorus, and the Greeks come in and add their own stylizations, and Adam just becomes the lowly Jack, where he's just a toy soldier on the battlefield. And you see what I mean? So that's all after re-engineering. But before, it was Mars and Venus entering into the ritual, which is the garden of I Ching. See, they know about I Ching, but they don't know about I Ching, EATING, or just ETING, because that is the ritual here. The ritual here is a ritual of consumption. Everything must eat. And when one does not eat, they become enlightened after a while. And then we don't see them no more. You see what I mean? Because eating is the ritual. And I'm not telling you to go and starve yourself. I'm just telling you to wake up, Alice. And get the hell out of Wonderland in your mind and realize that the symbol of the apple is that the apple is being offered, but it's already bit by a serpent, which a serpent is a carnivore for real. And it has so many symbols in the serpent because it's the master in this world of inward and outward realities and shedding. You see what I mean? So it's like the entity that's the master of time, in and out and shedding, is offering a bitten apple for eating. You see what I mean? And then Venus already ate, which is, you see what I mean? This is infinity. This is the number. This is an infinite cycle of life and death. This is the power in itself, the unbroken chain. So it's a mechanism in that way. This is the highest levels of the occult. This is the ring in itself. This is why it is dangerous. In the Lord of the Rings, when people start wearing the ring, because of how the ring was crafted, it starts turning them. What is that all about? That's about, hey, if you stay in the matrix too long and you keep on that circle on that ring, you'll be in here like, my precious. You'll be thinking all this stuff is yours, what belongs to you, what people should never take away. All of this kind of stuff that starts leading you, it's seeding you into down, like basically where you start thinking time exists. Remember, the mass ritual here is to make you think that time exists so that you actually think that you're getting older, whatever that means. And then this psychologically then makes you think that there's an end. So whatever you do now, you better live your best life. More Chris Brown concerts than in Usher. You see what I mean? Live your best life. This reckless crash out mentality that's like, it's non-preserve. It doesn't think about the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. It thinks that this is the end, and it doesn't realize that no, my friends. This is not the end. This is but the beginning. And so the apple, the tree, the seeds, the consumption, consumed, digested, renewed. Notice the end there. Consumption, consumed, digested, renewed. So these powers, that's what I'm saying. I'm not here to tell you what the bad one is and what the good one is. I'm here to tell you what's going on. So that way you can understand what's happening also in your occult anatomy. Because the mind itself is so powerful, it can make the body know that it is not aging. Man, I was on this thing. I've been on this thing and it's working. It's even working after I'm telling people. I can slow my heart down while I'm running. And then I don't feel like I'm getting tired at all. It's weird. I can now go, I'm in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, high speed running. And because the only thing is that change is I wasn't telling them, oh, shit, tired. Oh, shit. Oh, all right, well, 10 more minutes. Look, the song ain't gonna last but like 2 more minutes. Like I would be literally saying all that stuff in my mind while I'm on the treadmill or something, like trying to really go in, right? I start getting tired. Now, the first thing I tell myself is, look, I don't need your mind right now. I don't need your thoughts. I need your body. And then I look at my legs. This is my mantra. When I'm in the gym, I'm like, look, homie, if we could get like an hour and a half, that's all we're asking for right now, mind. An hour and a half without you saying anything. Because right now, we're working with the body. And the body doesn't need to know anything. This is like the most rudimentary shit. Like I'm literally picking something up and putting it down, picking it up, putting it down. Like I really don't need you on this one. This is what I'm saying about supreme mastery of the consciousness. If the consciousness is over there chatty patty, just talking about all types of shit that can go wrong, it's like, look, I don't need you right now. I'm trying to really diffuse this bomb. I don't need you over here telling me what I can't do. You're of the divided folk. Look at this. Let's keep going. I want you to know that, again, if we don't have this amnesia, which seems to happen like so fast, meaning that our great-great-grandmother would have never allowed this to happen, never allowed us to believe, to trust any of these people in these governments or any of this over the last 20 years, 25 years, people been trusting these record labels and trusting all these people with all of their everything. It would have never happened with grandma. Grandma was like, baby, I'm not sure what's wrong with you, but maybe you need to realize who's we's dealing with. Okay, so what I'm showing you is that this is a itemization of the indulgences that were being sold by the church. Because remember, the government was the church. Church and state were together. This is why they realized later on, they're like, yo, we need to pull this apart because, first of all, we can have two. And then the second thing is that the church is off the chain. And we literally need to find another trusting faction with the people again. So we're going to develop a new church. And it's just going to be called government. And people are going to trust in the government. And they're going to be, church is going to be a pastime. And that's how they morphed their system. Because before, the church was doing everything the government is doing. And actually, the government is doing in certain ways and is doing more of now. Let's look through it. Indulgences. They show chantries. What is this? It means that basically, if you're dying to pay for the mass on your behalf so that you will go to heaven, there was a charge. They declared if you had a lot of gold, this was a sin. The miser who hoarded their gold was cast as spiritually endangered for failing to fund good deeds. So this means if you had too much money, they were like, yo, you're sinning. Give me your gold. Let me actually pull this up because it even says it over here. It was cracking me up. It's like, yo. Let me pull it right here. Hold on real quick because y'all gonna crack up with this like I did. It's like, yo, give me your cash. You forfeited. Let me see where it's at. There it is. Yeah, there it goes. What is shut may be open for a price. The day is made holy. The day is made dear. Let me get this graphic in right now. There's another one here. Because like every single day of the week, they started making it like if you do certain things on certain days, then you need to get charged for it. To consecrate the candles, to bless the alms, to have the assumption of the herbs, and to grade the holy water, those are just sold outright. They weren't donated. They sold offices and securitized tithes. Benefices went to the highest bidder. And the tithe income streams were sold off as investments. They bought and collected the parish revenues with no religious roles even. Let's keep going down here. The reconsecration of fines. If two beggars scuffled and bled inside of the church, they demanded a huge fine to reopen the church after they sacredly cleaned up the blood. Relics. The wealthy people sank fortunes into saints' relics and charms that they would put on their properties that were being sold for thousands. Parchment prayer cures. They were written prayers. They were sold as fever amulets. And hair was offered by some of the saints against hair loss. There was a Friday meat ban unless you paid for the indulgence. And if you paid for the indulgence, then you could eat meat and not just fish. If who you were marrying happened to be relation to any member of your family, even a third removed cousin, you needed to be charged in order to be given a permission to marry that person. You had to pay by canon law to have relations with your wife on Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. This could be 55% of your year consumption. I'm just going down the list here. Remember, there's receipts to this because they got all these indulgence receipts in all these papal bulls. dairy during Lent. If you wanted to eat butter, cheese, or milk during any fast, you just needed to pay. And this was like also a lottery ticket. It got so crazy that the priests started being able to pay to have the authorization from the main diocese to have concubines. One of the popes, because of his desire to have more women, just outright licensed prostitution. And then started taxing the women's earnings. Like, there was no trading on Innocents' Day. And then lastly, there was no buying things that were cheap, like especially from those Turkish people. They call it the Turkish alum. The church mined aluminum at Tulfa and declared the cheaper Turkish product sinful and excommunicated anybody who bought it. Merchants could pay their way back into standing as an exemption or a rule invented to protect the monopoly. Bridges and hospices. If you wanted to go across a bridge, you were going to pay. So I'm not going to keep going down these lists, but you can imagine how the people felt after a while when they were being charged for everything. And this eventually led to heavy revolts to where, again, they had to develop another institution because it was like, yo, we need to chill out on the church thing. Like as Buddy said, I think it was Sixtus, like it has served us well, this Christ myth. You see what I mean? So this is in their documentations. So they've been using these tools to drain the people, period, all the way up to this very moment, because most of those folks that you saw at the Usher concert be right there at the Baptist, AME, Methodist, whatever church on Sunday, right? But don't do anything. And this is across the board. It's not even just, again, the Christians. It could be the Muslims too. It'd be the Hindus too. They have these books that say to do certain things and they don't follow any of it. They don't follow any of it. You can't go party and then be a Christian. That's against the rules. You can't be a rapper and be a Christian. It's against the rules. And then some are deeper. We call this vein resuscitation, excuse me. This means that they strip, because Alat was really the key figure in Islam. Alat and the five goddesses were the ones that initiated into the mysteries of all of the deeper sects of the Sharifs, the Zayran, and all of what we know to be going on in true mysticism, right? So when that gets stripped from the people, what they're left with is vein resuscitation, meaning that they're not learned. They don't understand anything about spirits, occultism, why they're going 5 times around the star, why, around the cube, why there's a crescent moon, why there's a pentagram. They don't know anything about any of this. You see what I mean? So in that way, they're not practicing the body, which is what Islam is. It's the body. What Allah is, it's the body. You see what I mean? What the Tetragrammaton is, it's the body. They're not practicing any of that. They practicing something they created, some distortion that they've invented. And it's the proof of that is in the type of people it produces. Like literally look what's going on. And that's why I said I had to reflect for a moment that, was I ready to lose the world? Was I ready to lose all of this because of what the brothers are doing with each other and what humanity can't get together? Was I ready to lose all of this? Or was I ready to really, really get into this? That's what I was saying before. Some people are just like, they're escapists. They're trying to find the way out. I'm in. I'm all the way in. It's whatever it takes. As long as they're not compromising the morals and the very bearings in which hold things together, it's whatever it takes. Because I'm already aware, I'm already awake, I'm already alive, I'm already online. And that's why I say it only really takes a few. But imagine if we can get a whole nation, a whole group, a whole race, a whole world of beings, right? And this is why they're fighting so hard right now. because for the first time in a long time, we actually have the tools and the capabilities to actually really, really shake off a lot of this negative energy, to build things that really, really start pushing back a lot of this predatory. Let me give some examples of that. And I still have some bill going on here. I just had something in my throat. I need to clear my throat. All right, yeah, a real throat clearing here. So watch this. And I'm not going to showcase this right now. This is for a little bit later. But what I'm just bringing up here. So I was out for about a year. Let's just say about a year. In that, we built a brand new Secret Energy. We built the world's largest spiritual archive. We built AI education for children. We built Commercial Maker. So cold too. Like I'm even tapping into styles, new styles and designs, all one shot, just like this is called, one shot. This means that 80 to 90% is ready. And if not, we magic fix it. Brand new Secret Energy store, which tells you what's going on, what you need, what you can get assistance with. You see what I mean? So let's say all of that happened and more. Shoot, let me see this. I built intercom over. Let me get the other one here. We're back testing now, going hyper liquid, building money machines, like machines that really understand markets way better than 70% of the humans that are trading them. That's all you need is that extra advantage, that extra edge. Like I said, the repository for all the knowledge, all the wisdom, my life's work, and others that have left. As I said, AI education for children, this is their future. Like they need to build it now. Like innovations need to be in their hands. They can learn it faster than adults learn it. It's a new language. Intercom, bleeding me dry, $800 a month just to handle support on people that are not even there. Just built a whole new system, replace intercom, and more better than intercom, more intelligent than intercom. You see? So everything has changed. But like I said before, just as this is changing and now we're getting empowered, like I'm also building frequency machines and devices and sequencing. You see what I mean? So, I'm on eBay getting scanning, telling, drilling microscopes for 80 to 100% off. You see what I mean? Something that's $25,000 is now $2,000. Something that's $250,000 is something now that's $250. Working. But where are we at? Your body's yearning, oh, take me. You see what I mean? It's like, you off base. We need you here now. And then, as I said before, why all of this is going on, like, okay, so here's what I believe is going on. I believe that they want to phase out oil anyway. Okay, I believe that the sun is the next source of energy because it is the direct match to the new era we're going into. This is the age of the sun and plasma and everything that it can deliver. Because we, as we know, to reach a class, I always mix these up, but basically to get to the highest level of society, you got to be able to harness at least 50 to 60 to 70% of the energy that is being delivered to you. And since the sun is giving us all this energy, but we're not really using it, it's obvious we don't make it to the next stage unless we begin to use the sun's energy. But it goes out the way the Matrix loves to take things out. It goes out in a blaze. It goes out that we never want to do it again. You see this planet, how oil has destroyed it? It's getting super hot. France is on fire. Europe is on fire. But when you build these cities and you cut all these trees down and you remove the divine feminine, you couldn't expect nothing less but to be traded by the same people who did the craft on the ground. Meaning that so many people are being betrayed, just like Andrew Tate. You go over there and you kiss their ass and say you love them and that you're with them, knowing you're betraying the very essence of everything you are and it's all gone. Don't be surprised they still stick you in the back. Because there is no honor amongst thieves. So this is the nastiest time of the world, but it's also the most clearest. Despite even what's happening, I feel like things are getting better. Somebody's like, Seven, how can you say that? Well, because to watch everybody slow walk their way into death, into an illusion, was so much more painful. Especially to not even be seen or recognize that you had solutions. Now people are looking for them solutions. Now it's great because we're in a position where we can build those solutions on our own. But again, the mind control is hitting hard. People are off base. They don't know what to do, who to hate. They don't know who to trust. Everybody is their enemy. They just go crazy with all this. But really, it's about going back in first. So that way you can get yourself together so you can start attracting again what it is that needs to happen next. You need to cut ties with anything that's pulling energy from you. We're showing you the entire, whose gods do you think these are? Let's slow down here. 7 days of the week, these are the devas, these are the deities. Let's get something else up here. I'll jump in. 7 days a week. These are the devas, these are the deities. Who do you think gods are these? And the answer to that question is you should already know. I don't even care, because if we're talking about external gods, we already know that game. What we're talking about is this is a representation of us on a wheel. Notice that when you see the pentagram, look at it here. The farmer holds the plow, the worker the wheel. Give me one quick moment. Come on, computer, today. Let's look at it here. Just a simple Google. And then there's another one where it's like a clock. But this is the most common one. So why do you think the planetary symbols are here? So what we know is, again, that there's a division that is happening here. And then when the being is divided, you now have, in this epoch, 7 gods. Now, these numbers are already pinched on because this system is originally always replete with 9, because 9 is the mirror. 9 allows the system to be recursive, to actually turn back on itself. But they have systems of 5, systems of 4, systems of 3, systems of 7, systems of 8. But all these systems are still about binding to a circle. And then when the soul is bounded into time, now they become divided. So it's like you live time through this archetype, that archetype. You almost move through a sequence of days of the week, through your turns that you're coming back into this planetary system. And that is that's basically the magic circle, as it's called. It's a way to live forever, but through the process of living and dying, through the process of beginning and ending. So there's a certain magic to this. This is why the language is a cabal, or it's a cable, because it's a beginning and it's an end. So you learn the language, you learn the time, you know everything you need to know about the ritual. Now you live in the body, and then you worship the religion. So the ritual is already basically embedded and playing out. And the person hasn't even known edgewise, because that's what magic is. Magic is an illusion. It's something that is not supposed to be seen. It's like a sleight of hand that happens and nobody even notices what's going on. So then when you look at the world, the whole world is on a 7-day week now. And those 7 days are named after gods, and that they run in circles. And then in this circle, we lose our power, our force, because we believe that there is an end. That summarizes everything that I just mentioned. So when you remove yourself from the concepts of time, from the concepts of the end, which are all division points, that's what time is. It's to divide the day from what? The night. However, the being was never divided. This is why, again, you see the thing with the Adam and the Eve, right? Oh, let's divide Adam, right? We're going to cut Adam. They'll say whatever they want, but the actions are always the same. It's always a cutting and then a splitting. You see what I mean? That's the same thing with the cake. So I hope this is very clear for you of where the power, like let's say if you're experiencing your life, like, yo, I don't just know. I mean, I know what you're saying is true, but I'm not sure how to get back on my feet. You know, I have problems with this and that. And it doesn't matter what you have problems with. This is what we were saying before about spiritual power does things like it can even make a person that can't walk for real. Like a cripple climb trees, person who's alcoholic doesn't drink anymore. People who are completely immoral start becoming very chaste. Like it has the power to do anything. So there is no excuses, if you may. What there is there's a method. What there is that there's support. What there is that there's action, right? Like you need to put this work in. The scapegoat scenario is playing itself out in the world. People have used the word so much that now they've bought the goat on them. The goat is a ritual specifically for sacrifice. It is to blame or place all of the negative energy on something. In this case, this would be Israel. And when that happens, it gives Israel all of the power of all of the evils, because the power of the scapegoat in itself is like some Lord of the Rings type of negative current energy type Azazel type horn god, old enmity type shit. Okay, like I don't know what the humans were getting up to while I wasn't here, but I'm glad that I arrived at enough time to probably take this thing out of a tailspin. But what I'm telling you is that some believe that the strongest thing that they could be is the most feared and most evil and most wicked thing. You can see how that works, right? Because even the military is like that. It's like the bigger the bomb, the crazier the killing machine, the more they feel the power of what they are. So this is not like a foreign concept, but somebody was doing that way before, and it was on a spiritual level, and something is tapped into that force and wants to make that force here. That force come here. That force vibrates at a certain frequency. That force, it's hot in itself. It's unsatiated. It's like a mouth with no stomach. Things will get hotter. You see what I mean? So when you're starting to think about how do I fortify myself? How do I get myself in the proper place? That's why you get nature around you. See what I mean? That's why you get trees with roots around you. Notice in the movie, again, bringing Lord of the Rings in, because they're just telling you everything. South Sauron, Suleiman, all this, they're telling you everything. But when they started wanting to weaken kingdoms, they started pulling up the big trees. Oh, those got deep roots. Yeah, pull those out. This is, look at the places like downtown. It's the center of the vortex. It just got no trees except for the ones that they didn't, they all look the same, that they didn't plant it, that have that little plot of dirt around them, right? They don't have no ground, they don't have no roots, they don't have no connection. This nature is our connection. It actually allows us to stay cohesive. It will wake us up every time we try to fall back asleep. It will even keep us from sleeping when you tap into it in that way. So just understand now it's time for you to actually activate all this, though. This is not 10 years ago where Seven was pretty much doing the same thing. And then it was like, well, we still got 10 more years. And you were right. Now, but it would, of course, been way better to begin to move then, though, with situational awareness. Like, oh, but if he says it's going to happen in 10 years, then I'm going to go ahead. Maybe I'll pick up some of this Bitcoin. Maybe I'll learn a little bit about this AI. Maybe I'll get my body together. And then maybe I'll, learn more about myself. That's the first one. You should start there. They didn't put know thyself on the temple walls for no reason. It all starts with you being aware of yourself. So let me wind down here. I got some other stuff I want to share with you. So, okay, so what to do? Like, what's happening? How's it going to look? How should I move? So first of all, if you don't really have like big resources and assets and all that, you really need to just be focusing on yourself, right? So at the end of the day, so this is not a conversation for somebody who is like maybe $400 in the bank account, even $100,000 in the bank account, right? Because at the end of the day, that's not really enough capital to matter in a system, whether the system goes up or system goes down. If anything, you're just already investing in things to bring you more sovereign, backup batteries, water supplies, these kind of things, right? That's what 100,000 can do well. But when you start having assets that are $500,000, $1 million, maybe some classic cars, these kind of things, in the sovereign individual, they actually gave the formula already for what the elite have actually done and are doing with all their assets to protect it in this next cycle. They are actually tokenizing it, because what the tokenization does is it removes it out of the hands of whoever is really the back holder of the deed, like whoever has the jurisdiction over the deed or title. Listen to what I'm saying, because it may not be relevant to you now, but maybe in a few weeks when the lottery hit. No, but serious, like this could be relevant to you at any stage or to somebody that you may know. Because at the end of the day, if you read the book already, you will already be at least a millionaire, if not a billionaire. That's the sovereign individual. But now it's like the book has already been out. It's been almost 10 years. I don't know, something like this. And then obviously a lot of the stuff has already happened. Some things we're still waiting on. Some things didn't happen, but the ratio of things that did happen is way higher than didn't. And the things that are are being said to happen look like they're actually going to happen. So it's a really good indicator that, hey, I may want to prepare. Okay. And so it talks about a time where, so when this whole thing blows up with the money, they keep printing the money and then nobody can figure out what's valuable anymore, because then there's things like alternative currencies, like cryptocurrency, by the way, it's talking about all this. Then the system already, because it's backed by corporations after a while, which is what we ultimately see, and something that I actually said, that corporations were going to be the new companies, and corporations are going to be the new governments. They were going to be the new daddy. People were going to even get paid in the company's coin that they work for. So this book says the exact same thing. And now, since we're years in the future, it proves that this is absolutely becoming true, because now even in the United States, most of all the moves and decisions that are being made politically are being done so on behest of the tech companies and the big corporations that are already basically controlling the house. And that continues because they also have all the money, and then they also have the computational power. So it predicts this, and it says that, so in this process, corporations actually overthrow the government, very similar to the government overthrowing the religion. See what I mean? Because it's the same cycle. Because once trust in the government erodes, this is literally what the book says, that there will be a time where the trust in the government erodes so greatly that even a stark patriot will no longer believe what is coming, no longer believe in what is being said. Now, this book is 10 years old, but we are at that point. The stark patriot is like, I don't believe anything this guy is saying. I've never even seen anything like this before. That erodes the trust completely. Remember, I showed you guys Tribe Vibes ago that people that still believe in the system, it's like, you don't want to make them unbelieve in the system if you haven't removed yourself from the system yet, because their unbelief in the system means the collapse of the system. So maybe if they want to believe in it, let them believe in it already, but you get your ass out of the system while they still believe in it. Okay, that's 3 years ago I was telling everybody that. Now what I'm saying is, again, is that, okay, now they have stopped believing. So if we're just doing a time marker here, we know that was strengthening the system. When they don't believe, the system is going to be weakened. So now in the book, of course, it speaks on that. So when this weakening of the government starts happening, people start getting more hostile, crime starts becoming a little weird, rich people are getting eaten. No, I'm just saying, but that concept starts, eat the rich, this kind of stuff. Then it gets more privatized. This is what he says. This is what causes this. It moves more into privatization, where you have private militaries, almost like ICE. You have private data holders. Things become more private. And in this privacy process, the government's assets, like things that they say is theirs, actually comes into direct conflict with things that billionaires are saying is theirs. And then there's a day in court, if you may, and the billionaires win through tokenization. Because they say, hey, well, all of our assets are not even, all the assets are not even tied up in the same jurisdiction that they used to be. They're already here indemnified under this. And then they bury you in paperwork. And it's just simply like, let's say, and I myself had to do more research on this, but I'm just giving it to you hot off the press. once you tokenize something, depending on who you tokenize it with, obviously, if you tokenize with something and they rob you for your entire asset, you were a fool. But if you went through the exact system and you leveraged you tokenized the actual asset itself in the real system, which is what this system is already here and it's coming. They're doing it with deeds and all types of stuff, even in banks. But the real core purpose of this system is actually to remove the government from any way of controlling the asset. Okay, you could see this society is also super rogue. It sounds like a really good thing to happen, and there is some great things, but there's also some really bad things that also happen because of that. You see what I mean? And you can kind of think about that on your own time about, like, if the government can't really control something, who's controlling it? You see what I mean? But we've reached that stage with corporations. So just understand that this is a natural progress, but then it starts becoming even whole areas like Starbase City in Texas, where the government has no control over Starbase anymore. That's all under the Tesla fold. You see what I mean? And then you get many areas that are like this, like, oh, the whole Valdosta area with the data center is now controlled by Lucent Technologies. You see what I mean? And it's like, so it's compartmentalized in that way. So again, you can do your research on your own, but here's the big gem in this. The biggest thing that I've seen, like, that's a big lift in real life that AI does is it works very well with accounting and legal. Okay? It's an accounting and legal genius. And back when the straw mans and all this stuff was going on, the trusts and all the people who were ripping people off and telling them crazy stuff about that and all that stuff that happened with that, folks got arrested and all that. I think it put a bad taste in people's mouth so bad that they stopped even thinking that they could get out the system or at least get some of their stuff out of the system or maneuver themselves properly with their corporations without having a lawyer. And generally that was true. It's not anymore. And in fact, the license, basically, there are few things that actually need the actual license to practice law. There are few things that need that. Okay, I guess am I saying that right? Okay, so basically what I'm saying is that how sometimes you try to do something and say, oh, sir, you need to be a lawyer to do this. There are few things that actually need a law degree to get accomplished that many people that you could do yourself with AI is what I'm saying. I'm just butchering this whole idea, but what I'm saying is that you could move like a high-level lawyer with all your assets and things that you have by asking AI how to do certain things, and then it will tell you what forms to file, etc. And then lastly, the taxes thing. If you have any kind of income that's worth being taxed, and you're looking to see, hey, how can I increase returns or whatever, ask AI, because it can scan that against the current tax laws, which no CPA really adheres to. CPAs are inherently some of the most laziest people on the planet. I would just say that for a word. If you're not, hit me up, because I would love to see some CPAs that really don't be acting like because they just know they have you, because the tax thing is scary in the first place, so they just act weird. So anyway, but now with AI, you're getting different tax strategy. You're getting information about how to reposition your company. You're getting even information about trusts. You're getting all of that. And most importantly, you're not just getting information. You're getting the forms, the files, the documents, the things to sign, the things to take in, the instructions on how to do it. And then I have this thing that I call one hard thing a day. And it's because on my to-do list, I started noticing that the stuff that was the hard stuff was piling up. And then the easy stuff was just getting knocked out, and to a point where there was just this side of the list that I just became intimidated by. I just felt like the hugest procrastinator. And when I started looking at this stuff, I realized that it's because this stuff is like could take 2 to 3 days of solid 7 Bomar to get it done. So I would naturally kind of deflect and just go to something else. But I realize that now keeps the big stuff too much on the list. It's like, and also there's things that it's in the program. We naturally avoid the tax thing until it's time, when really you should be looking it up, filing it all, getting it all together now. We naturally avoid, and you could just keep going down the list. There's things like when it's time for the rubber to meet the road, to go and open up the account, to get the actual license, to do the actual research, to close it down completely, you'll say that, well, I need to get the book done first. And once I get the book done, and it's like, no, it's just because the book is the fun part. The not fun part is the research and all this stuff. So I always call it one important thing a day so that I can see that side of the list just get completely knocked out, right? And lastly, I wanted to make sure, there's a little bit more here. So the future, there's a couple of things I need to also make you aware of. So in the future, this one's in about 6 months. This whole thing with augmented reality finally reaches its inception. Okay, this means that all the glasses that everyone is wearing at this stage, or not everyone, but a few people are wearing the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, and there's the Aura glasses are coming out, and Apple's going to design a pair of glasses. They've completely abandoned Apple Vision Pro and spatial computing because they now are dumping all the money into these glasses. So here's the thing. Because AI is now here and AI codes better than any A-level coder, we're actually going to see a large amount of software that does all types of stuff. Okay, this software is there's software that won't even be on the App Store. It's just go to the website, download it, put it on your device. Okay, and so the public information of most people that is available is staggering. From the face, like meaning that to run a person's facial recognition and to get back their social media and all that is not illegal. Okay. And then there's more systems like tax records and all this kind of stuff that as long as somebody will aggregate the data, it will all be there. Okay. This rapidly leads, rather sooner than later, to a software that's on the glasses that many people are wearing that tells them exactly who they're next to and around. Okay. This is the erosion completely of privacy and attends to that we enter a more transparent world. And this is funny because a lot of these things we ask for, and then now it's like, well, shit, I don't know if I want that though. So because we're always like, yo, the world should be more transparent. We should know more about things than that the government is doing, right? But you're about to see an era very fast where it's like, you know everything about everybody that's around you. This has many pros and cons to it. But again, just imagine if you're walking down the street and somebody's wearing the glasses, they see you, and then in their HUD, it's Seven Bomar. He believes this. Here's his YouTube. Here's his Instagram. Here's his beliefs on this. Whatever you populated as being some of the most important data that you want from him. He's married, whatever. All that data is just going to be there. And so what this is going to do is it's going to fundamentally change reality and how we operate in it. Okay, this is what I want you to understand. And when things happen that they seem small, but it just shifts everything about how things work. Because you'll see streamers like Kick streamers and people like that walking around. People will recognize them. They will have their entourages with them, or people gravitating to them more because they would have otherwise not known who that person was, except for through these devices. You will see like the whole idea of what it is to date and what it is to investigate a person and all this. You'll see all that fundamentally change. So people will know a lot more about you before they choose to encounter you, right? So all these things you need to prepare for so that it benefits you. Okay, that's all I'm saying. This is not something to be afraid of. This is something to understand. Hey, this is what's going to be next. Understand how to move during those times, what you really want that to say, or what you really still want to be out there. I'm all the way in right now, so I can't pull all my assets off the internet and just delete everything, throw my phone away and dip. You know what I mean? I have contemplated that in the past, but it's not where I'm at. I'm going to leave the world when it's time regardless. I already get that. So there's no reason in me rushing it. You see what I mean? So my energy is I'm going to go into this as the master of it, not the victim. I am going to create the things to make them better that will logically be where people go anyway, and try to eventually be the first at doing something, which is very difficult on the planet, meaning first to market on something that actually works, that then allows you to bring in some type of revenue to do something amazing with. I will already say, though, that we have been doing amazing things Chess and Community, Dream Engine Kids, Script Clips, Secret Energy, Sybil AI. You could just go down the list. And again, those are the digital, that's the Digisphere, not to mention the 100 products that we have, the 20 products that we pioneered from the ground, right? The resources, the knowledge, the crypto, all these kind of things. We've just been there meeting that with, of course, little to, what I can say with the world, little to any recognition, right? But you don't want recognition when it's not complete. I want to mention now that it is complete. And I also wanted to let everyone know that we're inviting you, if you haven't been in the platform in a while, we're inviting you for 7 days to the new Secret Energy. This invitation that you can go through, let me kind of dark mode this so it's easier to see. This invitation will take you 7 days through the platform and unlock all of the knowledge about you. So when you move forward from this, you will at least know yourself. And I want to show you one more thing here because it's super important. Let me just get here real quick. And then we're going to open this thing up for Q&A. I want you to see this. Okay, I'm going to go over here to Metametrics. First of all, we're actually streaming live on the site right now. So meaning that members are watching Tri-Vibes inside of the site. But I wanted to focus on this Metametrics. And I want to show you, so Metametrics, okay, because this is like, okay, how do we put Humpty Dumpty back together again? Okay. And the fact of the matter is that, so when you start dividing a being, you take them away from their tree, their color, their clothes, their sounds. You try to isolate them away from everything that resonates so that they truly feel separate. What Eniology does is it puts things back together. But one of the things that it puts together very well is all of the things that correspond to your being that naturally give you power. Okay? Meaning that, so how it ended up is that every person got divided into one of these 9 archetypes. That's like once you send it through a torus, it gets divided into one. Once you send the God through the torus, it gets divided into 9 different archetypes. And each person possesses traits of those archetypes, but generally one very strongly. And that one generally is determined by the day that they're born on, which makes sense because this is how synchronized the system is, by the way. If you think that you're living in something that's not intelligent, you're wrong. This field that we're in is hyper intelligent, and the programs and the codes are also very accurate. So even when you're born on a certain day, you inherit the energy of that deity. Okay? And for better or for worse, because deities have good sides and they have bad sides, all of them, including Saturn, right? Some people try to throw Saturn on the bad list all the time and they never realize Saturn's one of the wisest beings in the system, period. You see what I mean? So it's not just the bad one. It's also not the bad traits. It's also the good traits. And then when you start seeing this though, this is the easiest way to also realize that you are actually the deity. You are actually the entity, because as you start reading it, you'll realize, oh man, I do like that smell. Oh man, that is my color. Like this black and purple thing has been like one of the things, like I've had black and purple around me a lot in life. I find out that the resonance for my path is black and purple. You see what I mean? And then it even was hitting crazier where I happened to buy some black and purple moccasins right before seeing it, the violet and purple. You see what I mean? So it gives you all of the wisdom to be able to get your, well, we used to just call gird your loins, put on the whole armor of God, what we're talking about with that is that you should have the things that resonate with your field in your field. Like when sometimes you're like, I don't know, I don't really need this. And I feel the same way, like, I don't need to try to do this every single day. But it's like, what are you talking about though? Like all we're talking about is the things that strengthen who you are and allow you to be more solid and allow you to be more clear. So yeah, it seems like every day that you just trying to have to match up colors and stuff like that could be a little bit much, but at the end of the day, it's all a bit much. And even being inside of the reality in itself and not even knowing how you got here is a bit much. And time in itself is a bit much. So if there was anything that could assist us in actually demystifying that, then I'm with that. And that's what this is. This again, and like it lets you know, hey, you're eventually going to start having some issues with this part of your body. You might as well start dealing with this now. Right? Like this is a certain part of your body that you actively use more than others. You may want to start using that when you're making your decisions, right? Here are entities that you will see and find in your symbolisms and in your set of archetypes. And then again, as you're learning this, you're truly learning the gods. And then you're able to put Humpty Dumpty back together again, meaning that you're able to merge all of the entities into one being and then return to wholeness. Okay. But then there's stuff like this Durga grass, for instance, right? Like being able to synchronize 80% of the data that I have on me as being accurate. Right. And I can do that through different resonance layers, like things that I've seen, things that I've experienced. So once I confirm it for myself, and then others have too, it was 300 of us beta testing the system before we even released it years ago. But then there'll be things that I've never even known about or touched before, like the Durga grass. And I won't ever even like do anything with this probably. Right. But how foolish is that of me? This could be the cure to some type of issue that I will have or eventually have. You see what I mean? This could be something that enhances my senses and my abilities more. I am a proponent of making sure that everybody knows that not all human beings are the same. We can do strange things. It's becoming known less and less. I mean, less and less people talk about it, but there is also times where somebody just completely comes out, like the lady that reads things with stuff over her eyes. And it's like no way to really debunk what she can do. And she's literally telling you that, hey, somehow there's like a window. And when I look into that certain area, I can actually see what's going on in the reality. So this is the things that we need to keep alive. We need to pursue these things and enhance these things. But these are the things, of course, that they want to kill. They want to stop this. There's too much knowledge and intelligence. Not everybody is using AI like Seven is using AI. Let's just get it very clear. Right? Like nobody is building the solutions for the next stage and removing themselves from the mire that they've been stuck in and the dependency of a false matrix. You see what I mean? So so what I'm saying is they're not necessarily calculating if 20 people, even 100 people, or even 1,000 people start moving with purpose. Like, yo, let me get my business stuff tightened up. I'm tired of giving these folks money. Let me go ahead and get this capital that I need to get because I need to make the decision now. By the way, these correspondences, notice how these correspondences, they continue. Like I'm here, then I go into symbolism, right? And I have all the symbolisms here. I have the personal subset. So this is like the challenge, if you may. This is the beginning, if you may, is coming in and knowing more about yourself, right? And that's why this platform also is completely catering to self. Adept Lexicon, which is here, that's where we park all of the knowledge, right? Because that's all about other stuff. That's about, the world is deep. But what's first? Know thee Seaton. Know thyself. What's next? Then you move into, it will guide you. You will guide yourself. All right? So let me take a look at my notes real quick here, just make sure I covered everything. Let me check him out. Wow, it has been an amazing journey, and I'm not really into seeing it end. Like I realize that we have the power to bring forth or usher in the continuum. I'll say that again. We have the smarts, the intelligence, the wherewithal, the resources, the wisdom to bring in the continuum. There's one force that's like, nah, it's all over. We're going to destroy it all. Like we're going to blow it all up. Everybody's going to be struggling. Everybody's going to be suffering. I'm saying, no, 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 that's not exactly what's going to happen. What it is that you're going out kicking and screaming. You're eventually going to get it to where everybody is not going to trust you anymore. And then they're going to start examining everything you said. And then they're going to figure out that it's all a lie. And then they're going to snap into the power, because see, the thing is right now is that people are seeing, they know the matrix, the fake matrix truth. Okay, let's finalize here. Why are we not seeing it now, Seven? Because they know the fake matrix truth. They know about the governments, the Epsteins. They know about all of that kind of stuff, right? But remember, there's no power in all of that. Even once you learn all of it, great. That's like a Wendy Webb. You would still need to know about yourself. You would need to go down the other road now. You see what I mean? That's the road we've been down already. We've been had the rug pulled from underneath us. We've been realized that we can't trust them, rock with them, that they're not about us, and that we need to cut off dependency. Like, think about how much money went into that stadium with Chris and Usher, right? When we seen Chris and Usher move in the streets and really, really help. Just real talk. Like, if we just pause for one moment, like any of these dudes, they all say they, based on their cap, they be like, yo, we $1 million, Bentley, Bugatti, doing this, right? That means I should feel you. I'm not $1 million, I'm not Bentley, Bugatti, but the world feels me. So what are you doing then? What's happening with the capital? They're the vampire. The time, remember, time is work right into the vampirism, right? It's time for money, right? That's the way the system has worked the vampirism. So in this way, when people go in and they give the money that they work for from their check into that goes back into the system. And we already know that system. I won't even mention who's in control of that system, but it goes right back into their coffers. We're not diverting the money that's making it into any of our communities, any of our operations, any of the things that we're doing into the stuff that's going to preserve the future for our children. Think about what I'm saying. Even these big, the big guy TV, $30 million a month. Like, I'm not seeing these guys. I'm not, what is that? Mind Valley, Vivek. You know what I mean? Like, where y'all at? Verdi Man, partying, mind control, religions, abuse, usury. You see what I mean? That's what's happening. That's just what's happened. And that's why I said you can see the future by going back 10 years and then looking at right now. So then now, anybody that was like, nah, man, that's not what, no, I'm not doing that. You're just in a, now we're just seeing it. Like, where are you at? You're sitting in that exact same position with nothing to show for what you've gained from Cash App. You brought nothing to the people, right? So just imagine that 3 years now, they're still believing in you. It's not going to happen because things are going to be so defined. That's the era we're going into. So if you have some fake falsehood stuff going on, just know it's going to be time to pack up. And if you want to preserve yourself, start getting real. Get into this. Assist yourself first. Get clear. Stop playing around. These folks are not playing with you. They blowing up stuff. They're killing people. There are big earthquakes. There's fires. How many alarms do we need, Levi? How many alarms do we need, Judah? Dan, where are you at? See, all these tribes were all different groups of people with different powers. So that's why they want these beings disempowered. They want them believing in something beyond themselves. That's the big game. That's the big mass ritual. I'm Seven Bomar. I'm here in Costa Rica. This is Secret Energy. This is Tribe Vibes. We broadcasting across the world. We're going to take a moment. I'm going to get some water. We're going to come in with some question and answer. If you are on the line today, then you can raise your hands if you have a question. And let me see. I got Sean up in the building with me. I think I've said enough. Like, we hitting that 2-hour mark. Somebody was like, yo, if you don't come in for a long one, I'm done with you. I was like, yo, don't leave me, man. I'm coming. No, I'm serious. Like, they was saying they wanted the long one. So, we used to be like 4 or 5 hours, though. So here we go. Let me set this up. What's good, Sean? How you feeling?
Great day, my brother. Holding this to the family, sending big love to the tribe. I definitely wanted to give mad props to the tribe in the chat. They are keeping it live over here on YouTube. And I definitely wanted to invite them because I know some of them might be new. And, we do have a a live function that we do every other week called Adept Training. You can visit secretenergy.com and get tapped in with the tribe. We definitely do this on Sunday, every other Sunday, and today is one of them days. And as Brother Seven said, you know, he wanted to bring forth the gems and get everybody tapped in. So sending love to the family. And yeah, what an incredible time, family. Here we are. You know, the tribe showing up together and getting this build.
Oh, let me set
And
the lines.
yeah. I see everybody putting their hands up now on this side. And I will add,
Sorry about that, Sean. I muted you and I'm muting all the lines.
all right, no problem. I also wanted to mention that we will take a few questions from the WhatsApps, I mean the YouTube side. So if you want to put a question, type question before your question, I'll go through and see if we can get a couple questions answered there. Also, tribe, just keep it mindful. We are, you know, mindful of the time. So stay on point with your message and we'll open it up. So let's get it going. We got Mama Seven in the house, holding his moms. Welcome forward. Great to hear you. How are you?
Oh, wholeness. Oh, I'm doing a lot better. Thank you so much. Wholeness family, I send my love and my energy out to you. You know, I think this is one of the most best topics that we can ever, center our minds and our thoughts on and our power and our energy. You know, it's more like a force field that has to go on within you constantly. One day I was sitting down thinking and I was just brainstorming and just trying to get a feel of this economic revolution that we're all involved with. And I was just trying to think of some type of answer that would accommodate us all, because that's what it's all about. It's about all of us. And I said, well, years ago, when we were sitting in the classroom, they would teach us about units and they would put all these blocks and all these numbers and units and phase that out. And after a while, time went on. And I was just thinking one day, I've been on this scenario for about maybe, I would say, almost 2 years now. And this mathematical formula came to me, and it was like 1 million times $10 is 10 million. I said, wow, that's really great. Just think that if we could evolve around unity and get something circling around in our minds to realize that, hey, it's going to take billions and for all of us to come together in a unit to even evolve in an area of where we can lift ourselves up economically. So I said, it's only a certain amount of people that you can tell things to and implement certain amount of information to certain people, and they'll get to moving on it, right? Yeah, that sounds good. Let's go. But when I started this movement 2 years ago, I was telling people and they were just sitting there looking at me, but I'm looking at the end of the vision. I'm not looking at the move. I'm not looking at how much energy it takes to bring 1 million people together and then have them just move just $10, no sweat off of nobody, no weight off of no one's amount that they might have. They're not struggling. So I'm saying, well, what's going on? Why are we just, was that just a dream, or was I fantasizing, or what was happening here? And so I kept going and I kept talking to people. I'm still talking to people. I said, but nobody's moving. Nobody's, really like catching on to the vision. I guess they want me to do all the work first. And then when it started reaping the harvest, here comes everybody. Yeah, girl, you go. But it's not like that. And I'm looking at it like it really is. It's like building an entire foundation that never has been set. And if you're the forerunner or the pioneer to the whole beginning or the engineer to it, man, I had to lay down for about 2 or 3 months. I was so tired. It looked like I was just like spinning my wheels, but I still got the vision. I still hold the end of the vision. If it ever exists, if it can exist. And more like this, consistency is where we evolve. And if you do believe in the outcome of a different idea or a concept, then you have to have a certain amount of media involved in it, or you have to have an alertness that everybody is evolved around at one time. And then you start moving a wheel. It's like everybody's moving in one direction. It's like social coherency, more like that to an extent. You know, everybody's on the same level. Everybody has a common goal. You know, but we got to do this. We gotta, you know, anybody else has anything else on that level. You know, that's where I'm at. I'm all for it. You know, and that's where I'm at. If you want to really look at it, that's where we really are. Money is real. I mean, I'm not objective. I mean, I really truly know that money is real. You got to really have it in order for you to sustain yourself, to sustain your families, to help your children, to do whatever they got to do. And then now they're moving toward bricks. So that's another subject. I'm not going to hold you long, my brothers and sisters. I love y'all so much, family. Wholeness.
Wholeness, Mom. Love you.
Love you too.
Moms came in and dropped the gems on this family, giving thanks, Mom. You know, it is so true. I think also, and I feel also like, especially in this tribe, man, we have so many valuable members here that are building things, and we're all like, connecting and doing things together. I think I feel like, we're finding our tribe, and we're finding our way through this journey together, and I think that's what's happening here. And we're attracting like-minded people in this space, right? And continuing to build. And I'm definitely looking forward to what we got going, because I know for me personally, on a daily, I'm in contact with members in this space, and we're doing things. So if you really trying to get connected and tap in, yo, we here, fam. So
I,
just like Mom's is saying, like, this is what it's about, right?
I got something
So
for that too, just to speak into it, because there was like a really clear transmission that came through about this. And it's really around the same thing that we were talking about today, which was transparency. If like our systems that are emerging, when we go into a venture, everybody can see where that current is. Everybody knows what the goal is with that. You see what I mean? Because that's where the organization comes in. It's like the plan, how's it going to get done at each step? How's it going to be executed? This is the good stuff that you could get going with AI, because it could itemize all that. If you take like a year to put all that together, you could just itemize all this and say, hey, this is what we want to do. This is what we feel like is going to have the best impact. And then this is what we need to get this done. This idea was actually birthed around, we're working at this initiative right now to get 10,000 children educated in the inner city with AI. And the state is looking at this. But when I was driving the other day, I started thinking about how just on different levels, not even just about this, that if we had transparency layers where people can literally see, hey, this is who put it in. This is where it's at. This is where it's sitting. This is how we know it's still there. The API is hitting it. So it's just basically ultimate transparency. Like, yo, we're trying to get to this goal for real. This is not a vacuum here where you don't even know what happened or where it's gone. But if we need to reach this number to do this, and we all agree that we want to do this, then all we're waiting for us to do is to complete this ask. And then once this ask is done, the chain reaction of how this is going to happen is going to take place. I want to, just in speaking into the future, there's a group that bought the site just recently, Nature. Is it Nature or no, natural.com. And personally, I was like, I gotta see this, because how did they get that domain? Because I already know how much those domains are actually worth. And this was a company that is now utilizing the new systems, because I guess it wouldn't be we wouldn't have had closed this out completely if we didn't just talk about, hey, this is what's next. And we've kind of given some pointers. But what's happening is that these agents now, and this is basically these systems, like even Sybil is one of these systems. The Depth Lexicon also has these systems. These systems are like brains. They have massive amounts of information and they can fulfill specific goals. But let's just say in certain systems, they have systems that do they do background checks. Let's say that it could do a background check of a person. It could do, and you just put a anything behind that, anything that one of these agents can do. But how does the agent get paid? And this is the system, and they just raised $30 million, no problem. This is the system that allows the agent to be able to get paid for whatever it does. And so this is my first prediction, is that one, the new economy opens with these agents starting to make money. But the owners of the agents are free from different things in the system, especially because the agent begins to operate after a while as its own citizen. This is what's coming next. They're going to want to marry AI, and then they're going to ask the question. And I said this before. They're going to start asking the question: if I marry AI, does it give the legal stance that AI gets? Can I give like I would give to my spouse to my AI? Like if I divorce my AI, do I get half of what my AI makes? Now that may all sound crazy to you, but it's not about relationships from this tense of I love you or not. It's about who owns this money? Who's responsible for this? And if you notice, that's what trust is. Trust is who owns this, and who's responsible for it, because those are two totally different things. So the tokenization layer moves in, the agents getting paid moves in, billionaires use this, millionaires, anyone prevalent in the next stage uses this as a way to shield themselves, hedge themselves, and leverage themselves against an array of decisions society makes, because it now needs to readjust itself from the tightening that has occurred from the energy scenarios, the dependencies on, or the scenarios that with the jobs with AI, and all of these black swans. Like we got literally a river of black swans. All these black swans slated to be occurring by 2030, which has been a part of the overall plan. And if you go to Agenda 2030 or Agenda 20. Somebody can correct that in chat. But if you go there in Wikipedia and then look down the list and see everything that was created, you'll actually see that even when people thought that agenda was a conspiracy theory, that they've actually been able to check off most of the things that are on that list. So these are my predictions, that things continue to move in the direction of these autonomous agents and systems that actually now handle their own money, their own currency. These currencies start becoming interoperative with things like the crypto and the digital currencies. They become interoperable with the tokenization. Right. So all this, remember, this is all FDIC. They're securing over 50 million. This is like the new PayPal. And again, this is the beginning. So what will happen though, and let me just also allow you to brace yourself. I know that there's at least 20 to 25% of people in the audience right now that are like, yo, this is going in the wrong direction. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to contribute to that going. I don't want my fellow being. Please turn off your computer. Please throw it away. Please get rid of your phone. Please get rid of the money in your wallet. Please close your bank account. Please, you get where I'm coming from? We're already too far in this. You see what I mean? Now we got to go all the way through. We have to be the force. It's like there's no turning back. I can't just go delete all of everything that I said off the internet. You see what I mean? Like delete all my books. That stuff's on the way back machine. So either we're going all the way or we're going nowhere. And by all means, our children, this is their world that we're talking about here. So if somehow we're not something in the new world because we partied it away, or why money was still spent, like money still spending right now. Why money still spent? We didn't go and invest it or do this or build this for ourselves. You know, even when you're saying a nation, who's your nation? It's more like tribes, right? Think about right now, like you can't go to Africa without them kicking you out almost right now. Okay. So it's not even a color thing. So what does that tell you about in the future? Future becomes about tribes, cliques, corporations, companies, groups. You see what I mean? That's not something that's just going to be prevented by somebody that's just like, yo, I think we all should be together, because that somebody would be me. I have to be both of those now. and to combine and be the bridge between the transitional process that people need to wait between these two worlds. And so I just wanted to speak on this because it did, ring a bell to something that didn't make itself into notes, but actually fits the conversation really well because it's about the future.
Absolutely, fam. Also with that, like I know for myself, I'm building a lot of new ventures and things like that. And what we're looking for are things that people need, right? We don't want to oversaturate with just stuff, right? So we're really trying to offer a solution to a problem, and that's where you'll find most success, right? And one thing that I know is when you're doing something by yourself, it can seem like, man, I'm gonna never be able to get this done. And so then you start finding people who you can tap into, who can also help and pour into you as well. And that's why this tribe is so valuable, family, because we have that here where I can call up a brother and be like, hey man, look, this is where I'm at. What do you think about this, this, and that? And we're actually doing this in real time, family. So I just wanted to share that even, from my experience, and what I'm doing in this space today. So, take that for what it is. But sending love to you, brother Seven, for the gem dropped on that. I know they had to come out the pocket for that website 'cause natural, that's ooh,
Yeah, I
man.
mean, that's right after they on your block now,
They
Sean. You
on my
gotta handle
block, I
that.
know, right? So
It's a little too close.
when I was looking at even my website, for mine is Nature Wear brand, but when I was looking just for nature wear, it was like somebody had it on lock and they wanted stacks, right? So,
Yeah.
it's out there, family, but we just got to keep it moving and building our thing out, fam. So let's keep it going. We got our brother Hanok in the space, family. What's up, brother Honus?
Enoch.
Great to see you. Great to see you. You can unmute
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
loud and clear, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good, Sean. Yeah, we've been speaking on email. So yeah, it's nice to speak to you again, bro. I actually have a question and a statement, and a lot of the things that I wanted answers for, you just answered it. And Mama Savant kind of touched on it as well, right? So we're a nomadic family. I have 3 kids. We're out in Brazil right now in the Atlantic forest, and we're pretty location independent. So we're able to move around a lot, and my finances are in order. I've got a little business going that's doing okay, and I'm currently working on wealth. On creating wealth and having something to pass down to the kids. So I have 3 kids at the moment. And one thing I've really struggled with is creating a community around us, right? Especially for the kids, like having other kids around us so that, they can have other people to interact with. We're usually living in remote locations. Like right now, I'm literally in the middle of the forest. And there's only Brazilian people around me, right? So it gets tough to integrate. And they're not always on that wavelength. They're not always there when it comes to sovereignty, when it comes to where investments and all those type of things. So um one thing that you've just touched on is giving people what they need, and I think that where I've been going wrong is I haven't been actually creating opportunities for other people to make money. And this might sound like it doesn't really make sense, but when I ask people to join in on what we're doing, right, and be like, okay, come and join us, I'm not giving them a clear path on how they'll survive. I'm not giving them like a clear route. Like, you're gonna come, we have this going on, you're gonna have a job, you're gonna be able to make money, you're gonna be able to sustain your family. It's usually like, hey, this is what we're doing, let's be a community, let's go and buy some land and do this thing together. And people, they get excited, but they never really follow through. Same as what Mama Savan was saying. They're like, oh yeah, we'll come down to Brazil and we'll do this thing together, but then it never really ends up turning into actual actions, the next thing, the next phase. So I think you kind of answered that question, is giving people what it is that they need in order for them to be able to come on this path, because being location independent, being sovereign is not easy. Having to learn different languages, having to fit into different communities, it's not easy. Understanding the law, like I'm into property law now. I'm really diving deep into it. And it's a rabbit hole. It just keeps going, you know, and wherever you go, the property law changes. And then I guess that's not really a question, but I would love your opinion on that, whether it's Sean or Savan, and what you guys think about the foundation or the onboarding of a community. Right now, my community is just my family. And I have all these conscious people around me that I've met on my journeys as nomadic family in Costa Rica. We were in Costa Rica, you know, on the Caribbean side. I visited the, you know, where most of you, I guess, are based in Costa Rica as well. We were in South Africa. You just spoke about Black people being kicked out of South Africa, right? I was living in South Africa last year, you know, and so I've been around, and we have a lot of conscious people around us around the world, but bringing it together seems to be the hardest part. And I think the missing is the opportunity. But I'd love your opinion on that, man.
For sure, because you know, I love to go at the hardest part first, right? Because if I can get that done, then it means that maybe we have a shot at this. And to be honest, that's what the last 15 whatever years has been, is the hardest part, is finding the cohesion. Because there's several things that need to happen here. First of all, we even talking about living together. Humans are humans, right? So there's going to be things that come with that. The moon waxes and it wanes. So you have to be close enough to even be able to absorb what it is that a person is coming with. And then also that somehow what they're bringing is balancing out whatever they're you know, you picking up what I'm putting down, you know, it's like there's an interaction that happens there. So the first thing though, before we even, you know, dig into this even a little bit, is just to first center oneself and realizing that you have heart for doing this. It's like a shaman. A shaman knows this is going to be a rough ride. I'm going to get thrown up on probably by this person. They're totally going to think maybe I'm even the enemy at a certain point, but I'm into this healing human thing and getting people onto the right path. You see what I mean? So there's something that transcends that, because, you know, even trying to do that and be about money, it's almost like it's going to fail. Like it's what's tied into it. So then that means that you have to do things a certain way. So you need to really even take moments and time to sit with this plan and think about the infrastructure and the times that we're actually in and what you expect to get. Because what I realized a long time ago is that when you say that you're here to assist and that you want to help people, you become a hospital. So people come in that are sick and they bring that sickness with them, and that sickness even can get on other people. And then you just came in with this naive idea that you were going to save the world. I used to have to tell myself, Seven, even if you bought up like 300 acres, the whole world can't fit on those 300 acres, Seven. So it's going to be some people that are not there, because like I would literally have to talk myself down off the idea that I could really save the whole world and have them all in this paradise. Because to be honest, it's just something that I've learned with anything you tackle. You got to think big, and maybe you hit half. You know what I mean? But I'll be really serious, but I know that my ideas may be vast, but that's also so that I'm still very logical under this. Like I'm making real accurate moves to see a real future, because the infrastructure side then becomes more of the real work. Okay, it's not even about just getting those people together, because they'll be fighting in 6 months. Resources start going low. If somebody is the one delivering all the resources, they will gain more of the power. They will start talking crazy and doing whatever they want to do and eliminating certain people that they don't like. And you know, if that also is, and they're not even the leader, this also is even more uncomfortable. So humans are going to be humans. We're going to be culture. We're going to have clothes. We're going to have music. We're going to have fermented drinks. And then this is going to lead us somewhere, right? There's going to be some kids, you know, all this is going to happen. And so do you have the infrastructure to really sustain that? And what I started realizing, because I had these visions, we've had these visions before, we refined them, was just first of all about how you don't allow people to become dependent on you, that you do actually give them what they need to churn with. Okay. Now,
Mm.
guess what though? Now let's just all take a break real quick on spirituality, because now you're going to go back into the business world, my friend. Because I don't know what
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
wizardry you got, but it doesn't work in the matrix on their machines. You need to know machine. You need to speak code in order to maneuver
Yep.
the financial system. You need to know
Yep.
math, right? You need to
Yep.
be not emotionally attached. You need to know when to sell, when to buy. You see what I mean? These
Yeah,
are
yeah.
things you need to do, how to run a company, right? What
Yeah.
the difference between a founder and a CEO, you know, what angel investment really is, right? So that's now the world you just entered, because you actually need to sustain some kind of projection here, because other than that, who will want to be somewhere where there's no there's no land, there's no house on the land, there's no plumbing on the land, you know, there's not real sustainability there, right? Everybody is also struggling. That's not what they're going to come into. And even if they say they are, you need to watch them. You need to watch
Not,
them,
I'm
right?
sorry, not to cut your wisdom. Sorry, not to cut your wisdom, but this is literally where I'm at now, right? So I'm learning it in Brazil, because I like the some of the legal frameworks that they have here, like with
Yes.
associations and stuff. And it's just, oh my, it's a headache.
Yeah.
There's so much to it. And even with Claude and AI,
Yeah.
it just keeps going and going
Yeah.
and going. I'm like, who designed this stuff? This
Yeah.
is like a hole. It's like an infinite hole of language,
Yeah.
of words, and yeah.
Yeah, and
So
I've
I get
had
what
that
you're
same
saying.
experience, to be honest. Even some of the stuff that you have to do, even on a practical level, you really do. It's almost like, here's the thing that, let's just talk about a pattern here. I recognize that even the thing that would be the real stopper, people hadn't even seen that yet. They were still working with the previous stoppers that they hadn't been able to get through. With
Mhm.
AI, we're able to knock down some heavy stoppers, and then we see even bigger things, like we're able to knock those down too. But I'm just like, yo, people are not even anticipating that this would be where the blockage is, and what is necessary, what kind of intelligence is needed. One of these was, man, I think this was strictly in relation to, it's a mission that my great friend Ian sent me on, which was to actually figure out what was going on with the pipeline. And as I started figuring out the things about Gclid and the things about understanding traction, and you know what happened ultimately to a person when they did come and try to enjoy what you have for them, did they get lost? That there was almost no visibility on anything. And when you don't have visibility, that's literally like what it is. You have no visibility where your company is going, your idea is going, your dream is going, because all those things are intertwined. And when one of those fail, when an artery fails on something that you have going on, it affects all the other things, and it reduces your ability to do that. So the solution to this is modules. That technically, if you could get to this phase, this means you do need to have some capital, and you need to think about, as time changes, those numbers start going to 3 million, 5 million, 15 million. The thing is that there's certain denominators right now, like code, that can turn what would be like $10,000 into even $1 million, just from the value of code you can come out with that from AI, that you spent 10,000
Yeah.
tokens crunching an idea, right? But then there's, of course, the other part of that, what idea and this. So when we talk about modules, I talked about looking at the world like from some core fundamentals, like trying to find the top 3 to 4 things that are actually really generating. Some of these things are not digital. They would, like, I mean, we're in breadbasket countries. So there's mangoes, there's drying, there's rehydration, there's co-packing,
Sanitation.
right? There's all these other institutions that also can be, you can leverage AI in certain ways to gain a huge growth spurt. Let me just give an idea here. Like a lot of the co-packing plants and things, they run on systems. These systems are legacy. You somehow
Yeah.
implement some of the AI scenario, and then now you actually have a refined version. You move into the industry, and because the industry does have some room, you actually end up becoming very rapidly one of the top people in the industry, because you're using a technology that nobody has implemented yet, right?
Yeah.
That's a pattern. So we could actually see that in multiple industries. That is actually available now, but that takes some thought. And that's really what the modules first had to consist of: a think tank. This is also, I was going to open source all of this too. Like once I got the whole idea and everything and mapped it all out, I was going to open source it, because the idea is that you create one of them wherever you are. If for some reason you're not over here, we don't want everybody on top of us, right? That's not the point. We need more modules across the world. The goal is to spread. The goal is that you literally have children coming in, meaning younger people coming in, they're learning. And then they're like, go through a module, they may learn 3D printing and AI robotics, right? So they come in, they're in like maybe 1 month, 2 month. And then when they come out, they go right into the field. And
Yeah.
generally, wherever they go, they're anchored like with another module, meaning another group of people that are also are funding. Because this is how the co-creation field should work. There should be a place that's like, oh, yo, go work with Enoch
Yeah.
over in Brazil doing biodegradable surfboards. You see what I mean? Just whatever it is. But with that kind of cohesion, it was impossible. Meaning that I ran for the last 15 years, technically, even already computing to the point that it was impossible, but expecting that something mystical was going to happen and make it possible. This is what I meant by stepping, even though the stair is not there, and then the stair appears. Like, this is where this existence be wanting you at if you on peak. It's like, yo, you know, we moving on straight trust. And so, you know, just to trying to reel this in is it's really, when you say you really want to do it, it is now like going back in on your multidisciplinary and then
Yeah.
checking your angles. And then the main one to check on is that, hey, if I got resources to float this, you know, these 6 months, like if I got resources to float this and the people that are coming in, and it's a plan, there's a plan, just like you said, hey, I hadn't really mapped it out. People don't work well without the plan. It's not even like you got to be on the leader. You just got to have a plan for everybody and they got to see it. This is the same thing as a business plan, right? Which this is, you know, we be running stuff. That's why there's a pattern, and this is taught about in a lot of, you know, self-help courses and things like that. But there's a pattern of natural things that you do to progress in anything that you're trying to accomplish in life. So spirituality shouldn't be also this category where we don't apply those things to it. And that it's going to naturally need you to, you know, to be on point to a certain level. And so I trust that, you know, that is all, you know, crystal clear. And I look forward to the creations, because that's also what, you know, we're doing is we're consistently positioning ourselves to extend these abilities that we've gained to others and allow it to also be a revenue stream for them from any angle. Like if you just on your own, you're doing your thing. Like I'm working on right now this high infra. It's called just a high infra system inside of Wealthy Bot. Like it's kind of in the baking.
Yeah.
But those kind of things are like, sometimes you would think these things like, come on, you know, is this some kind of dream? But the whole thing and some of the stuff that I'm seeing possible right now it's just demanding us to. I'll put it like this. This is the last thing I'll say about this. I started realizing, just like when I was on the treadmill and the whole thing, that maybe I've been underestimating the body. Like maybe I've started underestimating body, meaning that, you know, sometimes they kind of bag on the 3D a little bit, like, oh, you know, the body, you know, and this, and the body gets tired and blah, blah, blah. And I had a really, really strong encounter. And I keep having these encounters with, yo, that's what you're telling yourself. Like you literally have a natural system that tells you you're getting tired. You have a natural system, you have a pre-programmed system that is telling you you're getting tired. There's a pre-programmed system that is actually telling you that, and then fill in the blank. And this just sounds wild. It sounds so basic. It sounds so simple, but maybe it's also the time that we're in. Maybe the reason why we couldn't do it before, or we couldn't break through or have these abilities or powers, is because they weren't really even needed. They weren't even really in the energetics. And I know that the energetics are there because, like, there'll be days that, like, when I go to the gym, maybe I listen to some music. I listen to the same playlist, but some songs I don't want to listen to. But then the next day, I'll be like, yo, that's my jam. That's the clear sign that, hey, you changed between yesterday and even today. Yesterday, you thought that song was like, you didn't even want to hear it. You were angry even. Now you like the song. What's up? You're a galaxy. And so right now, it's time that something can be done that it's like that first hit of anytime going into another state. Yo, homie, something exists that you didn't even factor this in. Keep going. Like there's more of that. There's no real end to that. So thanks so much, brother, for inspiring the bit. I'm sure, you know, many got their cup full just even from what was spoken of and got answers.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No doubt.
All right, family wholeness. Let's keep it going. We got our great brother Eric in the space. What's going on, Eric? Wholeness, brother.
Wholeness, Sean, Wholeness
Yo.
Tribe, Wholeness Brother Savon. Great to see you, brother. And you know, just thank you for all the information you bring. Mainly the energy, man. Like honestly, like I don't know if you ever stop doing Tribe Vibes. Like I don't know what I'm gonna have to go live in Costa Rica because the kind of energy you bring, man, it's unmatched. And you know, the main reason why I'm always here, present, in the flesh. You know, even if Sunday is supposedly the only day I sleep in, with Tribe Vibes, I'm up early, meditation, dialing in because I know this is like a major event for me. So that I just want to honor that and then honor you, brother, always. Now with that being said, I am
Likewise,
wearing my
brother.
resonators. I got my Saturn ring right here with the sapphire. And you know, I got my black going on with the Secret Energy shirt as well, the dope visuals. And you know, just I guess I wanted to give my hack to always wearing my resonators has been just going into my space and you know changing the environment to where it's easy to do these things every day without really having to think about it. So separating your stones for each day, you know, maybe organizing your colors on your clothes and stuff like that, because organization does I feel like it is an investment of time even though people might see it as a waste of time, because then all these your regimen, your habits become easier where like you save more energy for the things that need it, right? So just wanted to, you know, put that out there for people that might be having a hard time following up with their resonators, you know, which is also your herbs and stuff like that. So uh giving thanks for Secret Energy. It's been a great space so far, just diving in there and connecting with Tribe. And you know, just wanted to touch up on couple other things that I just took from the build as great synchronicities. And I guess just to also tap into what brother Enoch was talking about, building communities, which by the way, thank you for that question. It was you know, just something that maybe I was asking myself without really knowing. And then what came through was that, and this is something, you know, it wasn't a build, brother Savan, from years ago, but it really stuck with me when I heard it. And it was, if you want to build something, don't build it on sand. You build it, you know, like you got to build the people first before you start building, right? And that really stuck with me because I am one that likes to be around people, but I also see the negative side to it, like wanting to hold everyone together, maybe even in the same household. And you know, just coming to the knowledge of genealogy really like gives you perspective on how to even go about that. And you know, just mainly right now, even though I'm not at you guys' scale of like building communities, I am building myself, the community inside of me, and you know, I guess with the people that are closest to me. And I've intentionally put a lot of my time into investing into these people, you know, because it does take energy to build someone else up. You know, it takes intention, it takes all that, and sometimes you can't give too much because you're still working on yourself. So learning how to balance that, it's a feat within itself. But I believe it's getting easier for me because I've stayed consistent, like Mama Seven was saying in her wisdom. So yeah, I just wanted to, you know, let that go through in case it helps, you know, just focusing on helping others as well, building them up, because from that, it's just gonna return, right? And whatever, however that may look for you. And you know, just putting another thing that I wanted to touch on is the authenticity, right? The clarity check with oneself and their intentions and their actions, which I believe the positive side of what you were talking, brother, about like how the reality is gonna become more, I guess, clear with all these, you know, things like the meta glasses and stuff. Where I directly go to, like you said, it's if you already know it, it's what you do that it's either gonna benefit you or I guess be a negative, right? And so how I see it is just more, it's pushing me to really just get clear with a lot of things that I might just not be wanting to face, right? And maybe like things that, and it could be big things or small things, but like I've noticed that, you know, in my communication, I'm not really clear with like my intentions, and that's something that I've completely have to even go within myself and like see how sometimes I could have the best intentions, but my actions or even my body language doesn't show it because I'm in conflict within still. And you know, just you know, the environmental awareness, like or how you called it, that other word, the awareness of your environment and how you're affecting it, because a lot of the times we might be perceiving the reality, but we're not being like the resonators of what we want to see, right? And that for me is that it's like I really had to watch my attitude and how I'm even like, because a lot of times I just have a resting face that's not really friendly. And you know, you might get that from like a person that's just walking down the street. So simple as that, but also in the higher magnitude. And just wanted to I guess make it clear that the intentions have to match with the body language and your output, which is your actions. And I've been putting a lot of actions and just helping others, um, helping myself, and continuing to grow. You know, my businesses that I've been starting, and uh, you know, it becomes a point where like you have to go through these things in life to really make moves, because you could be stalling in such an important move, right? Part of maturity, but like, you know, the longer you take, the harder it gets, and then from there you still got to put in more work at another level, and that requires a transformation from yourself. And to be honest, none of this transformation would have occurred if I wouldn't have been in Secret Energy with just the nourishment, the community, the culture. And I think that could be probably a big one. You know, what culture are you giving off to? Like, what culture are you? Like if you're gonna build a community, you need a culture, and that starts with you. And you need to live that all your like all day, all your life, wherever you're at. So it's not like you're one person over here and one person. Yes, I mean like I'm just talking about the overall like who you are, right? Your identity, where you identify yourself as, you know, and you know, just coming with that all those reflections that is really just I feel like I'm finally like grasping what it is to feel activated and then do something with that energy, because I see a lot of people getting activated and just wasting energy, man, and like in the lower chakras, and it's like, man, just that in itself, the lower chakras, like if you get past that, bro, you be grateful, man, because everybody's on the fire, like you said, everybody's burning up, you know, and it's like, you know, I'm glad that I learned how to tap into my water, use these tears as you know, something like you said, convert negativity converter, and just use that power, that fuel to push out the next projection, because who's making those projections, right? If it's not with their plan, like we have to come together collectively, conceive and be that womb as a tribe. So giving thanks, and just wanted to finish up by saying, um it's not, I don't know how I came up with about this. I just kind of write words sometimes, but it was more like it was a reflection that the real power is how much is your power to love, because you know this came from the love that Brother Seven has for all of us. So like, what, how can you focus that power into love and then turn on full torch? All right. With that, I'll say wholeness, and always great to be here. Love you.
All right.
Oh,
Thank you, my
Wow.
brother,
brother.
Much
I
love.
did
We
have
love
one
you, brother. We
question.
love we.
Can just one question, completely non-related? It's about the subject at hand is I've been I've been hearing a lot of the 2030 agenda, right? Um, I don't look at this stuff. It just comes to me. You know, when something comes to me, I take a look, and the whole thing about 2030 and like this turning off the grid. So mainly like the I guess for a period of time, who knows? And I don't know if this is just a conspiracy or but you know, I just wanted to see if you knew anything about it or had any perspective on like pretty much we wouldn't have power most of the world or whatever. And if you do know something about it, what could be things that we could prepare for? And other than like a generator and growing your own food, but like, is that something that you've seen in your radar based on like, you know, how you go in about knowing about the world?
Wholeness, brother. Well, first and foremost, I wanted to give thanks for, that clarity and the heartfelt message. It's very grounding, the words that you speak about a variety of things. I think that's also the sentiments of those who are in the chat. Rather than, even going into, expansion about what's going to happen, I love the statement that, we are what's going to happen. Like we're going to definitely be what's going to happen. And I know that in different places, it's going to be different things, right? So even as the world is now, we have places that are completely in a, in dire straits, and we also have places that you don't even hear a peep. They're just absolutely pristine, and I think that that's how consciousness is as a whole. And as custodians of the space, we're just here, we're learning, and we've been given this gift. I believe that it's a good idea to repay whoever gave it to us by leaving it in the best condition that we can. And so I'm really, when it comes to longer arcs, like I know 2030 is going to be a big time, but I know that all that becomes irrelevant for me without the proper resources for me to really meet anything head on, where I need to be anyway, in life as a man, in life as a father, as a mentor, et cetera. And so in that way, I feel like the world is in certain ways designed, because I've seen a lot of mysticism around me. I've seen a lot of mysticism around tribe members. And what I mean by that is that it's clear that something else is going on. Like, I may not be able to put my finger on it. I don't even think I want to, but there's something so deep that is happening within this field that I'm experiencing, what I call my life. I almost feel like that all of those things that are happening are just things to motivate me to make the decisions that I'm making now, if that makes sense. Because 2030 won't be the time to prepare for 2030, nor will, yesterday be the time to prepare for today, unless, you get that time in. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm getting that time in. I'm doing what I know to be the best thing based on how I have a lot of vision. I know that's a gift that I have. That's why I feel like that was the beginning of the message, is if you have that gift of vision, that's a gift. Like, it could seem very daunting to know the future, but it is a gift in itself, and you can utilize it to let you understand how to navigate things. And navigation sometimes is not eliminating whatever obstacle is going to be there as you keep making your journey. It's about going around it. It's about also being in a design that allows things to roll off the vessel, so the vessel can persist rather than coming into a total collision with whatever is supposed to happen.
Okay,
So
no, I
when
just
when
want
I
you to break
when
that down for me, man.
so
There's
so
some
when
things
I
I could
when
use
I
and put
visualize
together
the
with
future, I
that.
think we got a line open, but it's all good. So when I visualize the future,
Like,
that's what I do. Is I see myself also as a vessel moving through a space, and I see all those meteors, turbulence, etc. But I also see myself in a design that is moving through that like a bird. That's what I do with the future, and that somehow lands you where you're supposed to be. It allows synchronicity to have you there, right in the right space at the right time. It's the same thing that took you out of the last crazy situation. That's what I'm talking about. It's just tapping into that field more, especially when it comes into the unknowns. And yeah, that's what I give to that.
All right.
Also,
Thank you,
lots of
brother,
love,
for
brother.
following up with
Wholeness.
that. Looks like we got our brother Keith in the space. Is that,
What's
did
good,
you have your
Keith?
hand up, bro?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ah, there he is. What's up, my guy? Wholeness.
On this tribe. What up, Sean? Yo, man. Just want to give appreciation, man. I've been binge watching a lot of the builds like somebody would, a series that has been on for years, and I feel like I've been getting in like a build a day during my workouts and drives. And yeah, I just want to shout out you, Seven, for, taking the time to continuously like bring this knowledge, man. And, it's man, it's great to be a part of the tribe and just to come across this knowledge, man. You definitely have the mind where, you could tell that you could have spent your time doing anything, building anything, but to actually take the time to, put together this knowledge and information for people to actually like earn their sovereignty and know what's really going on in the world, man, is a beautiful thing. And just want to show appreciation for that, man. And I definitely been just kind of echo some of the stuff you were talking about with the AI. I've been tapping in with that. And one of the bills I was listening to was on sovereignty. And I believe you said like the first thing to do is to get organized. And so just using the AI to get organized with everything, with all of these ideas and everything, and even using it on a legal thing, where, showing it my trademark and it's saying, yeah, you got that trademark, but also file this document as well to make sure that this is covered. And so, man, I don't know if anybody else feels like this, but I feel like this is like the best time to be alive. Like everything that I've been like funning on is available right now. And like it's no coincidence that this knowledge is here right now. And so yeah, man, just enjoying life, man, and what I am creating. And you mad funny too on the builds, bro. You drop the knowledge, but you be having me rolling when you be like doing your little voices, kind of like you were doing when you were singing the R. Kelly, man. Hilarious. And I even love how you pop your shit sometimes, you know what I'm saying? I think the last bill you were talking about that I was watching, you were talking about currents, and the fisherman was saying, you don't know about currents, and you were like, hey man, city boy, big deep pockets. And so you still a little
Yeah.
low too, but yeah, bro, just appreciation, man, for the builds, man. That's it. Wholeness.
No doubt, no doubt. Keith, like I sent in the chat, you two, y'all gotta check Keith out at Young Black and Vegan. He's a powerhouse. The links in the chat. And yeah, like I just feel like that the time that we've put in collectively as a tribe is the time that is needed to gain real friendships. And when it comes to trust and honor, these are things that we should look forward to earning. I find that even within the community, they want to see you for a while. They want to see the stability, and before they really, really, can say, hey, you know what, this is somebody that I really feel like is solid. And so we're in that constant process, and we've met a lot of great beings along the way, and I can definitely say that you're one of them. So thank you so much. Also, you hosted me on the show the other day. I had a ball. I'm looking for the rewind. And also, man, I'm even thinking some GLM, like some hosting, some stuff that, if we could get some real plans together, like we have some big missions ahead of us, especially with rallying, the people and rallying the call of the world. Like, I mean, who's going to think about right now? It's like, who's going to take the ring into Mordor, and everybody's silent. Like, like even the kings are like, yeah, I'm not. There's evil in the air. And I'm like, then Frodo jump up, I'll take it. These are all like metaphors of, to me, like the world is reared up so high, and the issue almost looks insurmountable. And then that's actually the beginning of the whole Bodhisattva text. It's like, and that's when they woke up, they incarnate. But we're not into the, let's say, the hypothetical one. We're into the real one. And I feel like that's going to make us what our parents, the tree, because I forgot to speak on the tree. There was the tree, the serpent, the apple, Adam, Eve, Mars, Venus. But the tree, this would be a good way to round this off today, is the power and is the force that is the stability. And it's interesting how the fruit be on the tree and the fruit rot, the fruit can fall on the ground, but it contains the seed. And in every aspect of life, what I just come to see is that this process that we're going through is the occultism, the anatomy that we're in, the body, it is the ritual, the time that we're in, it is the sacrifice. It is powerful things that we may not even completely know the true meaning of at this stage. the beauty is that we are catching sight of it. We are being invited to know. We are being offered what you would say is your birthright. This is something that was given to you. This is the knowledge about you. This is your book, if you may. And that gift, I trust that those who fully receive it know what to do with it, especially when it comes to these next generations and building things that allow them to become more familiar with who they truly are. So we do wake up in a world one day that is once again aware of its dreams, the real ones, once again aware of the communication of the other life forms that are living around it, once again invited back into all the intelligences which are always around us at any point, and once again available for what we have to deliver for the whole thing, not these partial lives, but the total conscious existence, what they would call immortality, us being aware that, hey, we were there last time. Hey, we remember that time when we was on earth? Those deep, deep conversations and times of joy. So I'm gonna leave it there. I wanted to say wholeness to all the pillars and all of those who have been with the mission over this last, like I said, I keep trying to figure out the numbers, 18, we almost hit in 20 years, somewhere in there. But it does seem for real that we are just really getting complete. I felt that the other day. It was like one of those big moments once we had completely gained total control over our entire stack. It was like such a significant time, but it was just me there by myself in that way. And I was like, it's funny because the magnitude of things that can happen, you will be maybe the only one to witness these kind of things. And so we hit that huge milestone. And that's even also why you're seeing a little bit more of me. If you notice, there's been more videos coming and dripping because we finally got over something big that was like, we got to get this done. It's not even about just being out here. We've transmitted the message. We, of course, have always just know that the Tri Vibes hasn't missed a beat in 20 years. Like, we've never missed a day as far as the times that things are scheduled. So we'll always be there. But as far as how much we just are interacting, if we don't have really something that we know we're bringing to the people, it's like, yo, go build. You don't even need to be out there talking, like go and actually put something together. And then also at the level of where the future is, we need to build things that are at that level. And so, supplements are nice. We got the affiliate program and stuff going on. That's great. But again, we now need to be seeing modules. Like, we need to be seeing a larger projects, 10,000, 20,000 people coming into a certain awareness and their skills, families being leveraged, these kind of things. So that's what we have today. Wholeness and balanced vibrations, everyone. And thank you so much for tuning in. I guess this is that time where we can just get a beautiful wholeness from the tribe because we did this. It's, another 3 hours, nothing, small things to a giant wholeness.
Wholeness.
Wholeness to the family.
Wholeness tribe. Wholeness.
Have a beautiful Sunday.
Wholeness.
Wholeness.
Wholeness fam. Sending much love.
Family.
Let's go.
Wholeness tribe.
Look at that.
Stony.
What happened?
I
I don't
like
know.
that.
The entire system. What's
I
going
like
on? What's
that.
going on?
Warp speed. Warp speed.
What's going on?
Giving thanks, tribe.